You know, I actually I needed that little bit of sunshine in my life today. I did. The Ravens got stomped out worse than I think they've ever. Like, oh boy! Like, we always play the Chiefs bad, and then to get stomped out the way we did today, it was just it's a mess. We got a lot to talk about tonight, though. How you feeling, man?
Good. Feeling great, man.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Apostate Radio. I am Isaiah Carter, and to the right on your screen is Mr. Nostra Chavez. We are in episode number 30. Episode 30. And yeah,
man.
What a journey, man. What a journey so far.
What a journey.
Yeah. This has truly been, I know I said this before, but this has truly been a blessing to be able to do this. I never, ever thought I would be in a position like this, meeting so many great people, yourself included,
Thank you.
to be able to do this. And it's a real pleasure. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing many more from here. So we're gonna do the housekeeping stuff a little bit later, but I will say this: Mr. Jordan Bowles, my fellow another Ravens fan himself, is he's excited.
That's good.
Yeah, we're excited to be back, brother. We really are. Oh my gosh. Coming to the stage tonight, a lovely lady who you might have seen a few times on Timcast IRL and a few other streams. She is, this is her first time to our show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the wonderful Redheaded Libertarian. How are you, my dear? Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me, Isaiah.
Thank you.
Hey, Josie.
Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is a real honor. I've seen you on Timcast with Tim and the guys. You bring a good energy to the show and a lot of knowledge. It's really an honor to have you on my little show, our little show here. And next, a gentleman who needs very little introduction. You might know him from a little satire website called the Babylon Bee. This website was one of many taken down on Twitter 1.0. In fact, these guys have the honor of being one of the biggest reasons why Elon Musk bought the platform. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, the managing editor of the Babylon Bee, Mr. Joel Berry.
Hey, hi.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, man. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. When I tell you, we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. Starting primarily with, I don't know, you guys. I'm going to play a clip of something, and I want to know if it gives you as much comfort and solace as it gives me. The wrecking has begun. Yes, the wrecking has begun. Oh yeah, I'm going here. Let's go to Portland real quick. I don't know about you, but I get a kick out of that.
Couldn't have happened to a better, nicer, more well-adjusted group of people. Let me tell you, man.
Earlier this week, ladies and gentlemen, you may have known that President Trump has officially designated Antifa a domestic terror organization. This is one of the biggest steps to ending this communist nightmare that has been that really has been taking this country by storm over the last several years. We're living through the fruit of the long march of through the institutions. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this because, like I said, this is amongst I want to get the hard stuff out the way because so Josie, I'll start with you. What have been your thoughts on all of this? We've got ICE and also several other federal agencies converging on not only Portland, which was the biggest one, but Chicago. I've seen them going into Indianapolis and a bunch of other places. So how do you feel about all of this?
Well, I want to kind of point to the revolutionary historian standpoint, because that's what I do. I make everything about revolutionary history. So where does Antifa stand when it comes to revolutionary history? Well, they fancy themselves to be the Sons of Liberty. They think that this is the Boston Tea Party. This is and this is defiance. This is them rioting in front of the loyalist stores. That's what they think that they are. But in reality, the Declaration of Independence, the 20th, 25th, 26th, and 27th grievances discuss exactly what they are. So what King George was doing was he was funding mercenaries to come into the colonies and harm the colonists. So he was funding the Canadians, he was funding natives, and he was funding the British Navy was also doing it, and also, of course, the Hessians. And he was funding them, and he was arming them, and he was sending them in to be disruptors, to hurt the colonists, to do that sort of thing. So I'm seeing a parallel here between whoever is funding Antifa, which designating them a terrorist. I mean, the power there is to figure out who's funding them. Is it George Soros? Is it NGOs that go back to George Soros? Who's funding it? We don't know, but we're going to find out. Whoever's doing that, they are reminiscent of King George. So what we're seeing is history repeating itself, essentially.
Joel, your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, the videos are nice to see. I will say it's a good start. I don't see any commies being thrown out of helicopters yet, so there's still a way to go. Just kidding, but
are you though?
Don't joke like that in front of Isaiah, man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to incite violence. The important thing is, though, okay, these guys are getting rounded up. We got riot police in there. Okay, clean up the city. Okay, this needs to end in arrests, lengthy jail time, prosecutions that stick. Like Josie said, I mean, the money has to be tracked down and shut down. Those responsible need to be arrested. There's a whole legal side to this thing that beyond just getting these guys off the street, the back of this movement has to be broken. These communist, Red Army subversives, and so that remains to be seen. I hope that Pam Bondi and her crew and Kash Patel and his crew can back up some of this action and make sure that these guys get shut down for good.
There seems to be a thing that I've been noticing, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there seems to be amongst conservatives this notion that amongst some conservatives there seems to be a notion that that this administration isn't doing enough, or doing or in some cases doing anything at all. And you know, like I understand that like stuff like this takes time. There's a lot of mobilization. There are a lot of people like within the federal government still that are very much against this. But I mean, like how is it that there are some people who are saying that like nothing's happening? And are they being impatient? Are they being unreasonable? I mean, I'm just, again, I'm not saying either one of you are, but I'm just asking the question, like, why are there some people who just feel like nothing's happening?
I think they might not understand the power that the government has and when it would become actual fascism to shut something down. They see what's happening. They see terror, and we see it. And we see this is domestic terrorism. We're very clear. The fact that they do it under the label of a political expression, that causes a problem for the government to be able to really come in and do anything. We even see this with the KKK. It chills political speech. It chills political association. So it's about finding a balance, because clearly they are anti-American communists.
Right. And I mean, the difference between the KKK and Antifa and BLM and stuff like that is we don't have like every single university in the country training them to be, you know, training KKK members. We have, but we do have that for training communists and so-called anti-fascists. Yep. That's a huge issue. And I think there needs to be some kind of like, you know, I love the executive orders, but we need to like really do some sort of, you know, something in Congress to make actual laws on the books that says like you can't be indoctrinating people in radical ideology. Like you just can't do it. Like of course they would be making a law about that if somebody was teaching kids how to be Nazis, right? Or fascists. Promoting it, not just teaching about it, but promoting it in universities, across universities, even some K through 12 schools. Like why that just shouldn't be allowed. That just should, especially it should not be encroaching in science. It should not, science classes, math classes, which it is, English classes, literature classes. This is a major problem. Like you're just you know, creating millions upon millions of new generations of kids who hate America, hate white people, hate capitalism, hate the founding fathers, hate colonialism. And then they also have like $100,000, $200,000 in debt, which gives them a really good reason to hate capitalism, right?
Yes. So the way to do this, we're a republic of 50 states. So we see this being done in Florida. Florida, you know, we have the 1776 Project, and they're required to teach anti-communism here. But then you see Washington State, which is required to have DEI and to teach children they can be any gender starting in kindergarten. So the way to fix this, in my opinion, is to seize federal funding. Money talks.
Yes, 100%.
And that's really the only power that the federal government has in order to stop this woke indoctrination of children, is to say, well, you're not going to be funded for it anymore. And we see it working when it comes to funding these hospitals that are doing these gender surgeries on little kids.
Yes.
So that's the way to go for that route.
That's the biggest thing right there.
I'd like to see that, something in the books for that. Like that should be illegal doing that stuff. I mean,
part of being a republic of 50 states is that we do, because we have this freedom, we have the risks that go with it. And these are the risks that one of these states is going to fall into absolute communism. So whatever pull the federal government has, you know, where this is federalism. So whatever pull the federal government has, that's what they have to use to be able to stop this anti-American behavior.
Yeah. I also think too that for the people who are feeling impatient, I think that it's, you know, I assume that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't see, and you have to remember that, you know, people like Obama, Biden, they had like 16 years to purge our institutions and put their people in, and they really did. I mean, Obama, he purged the military, he purged the FBI. The CIA. It was an absolute bloodbath, and the media didn't cover it that much. But he completely cleaned house of good people, put his communist, you know, subversives in there, and that's going to take a little while, I think, to undo. So, you know, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi have that in front of them. I think we need to, you know, I think we need to consider that and be as patient as we can. You know, the other thing too is I think there are some people that seem to I don't know. like the Curtis Yarvins, the guys that are really just want to end this whole American experiment and go straight to monarchy, are seem really keen on like, hey, it's not working, guys. The FBI is not doing their job. Pam Bondi's not doing their job. Like, forget it. It's not working. Let's move on to like our idea, And so I think there's a little bit of that out there too that you should just be aware of. Some of these people that are displaying this impatience have another agenda behind it, I think.
I've never understood that. Like, and
who would be the monarchy? Who would be the first king? Trump? Is that what the plan?
None of people are able to explain that, are they?
There's a libertarian movement for it too, and it's called Hoppianism, and they all want a monarchy, and they don't like Trump. So I have no idea who they would you elect the monarchy? Like monarchies tend to be God-given, quote unquote. I don't believe God grants a monarchy, but who? How would you do it? Like, you just put this guy in, and then his kids follow suit after that? Like, how are you going to do it?
We'll have to do like a bachelor for the whole country.
They're always a little fuzzy on the details.
Yeah.
I've never understood this. It's like, again, like for me, everything like what both Joel and Josie, our two J's today, everything that they've said is true. It's like, for me, it's like the context in which we've been living in for the last, I mean, this is going on 20 years at this point. I mean, like Joel said, Obama had 8 years. Biden had 4, and whatever happened in between that with Trump, with the Trump 45 presidency. I mean, I would even guess. I mean, I would even say, and I know this probably sounds a little bit nuts, but I would kind of say that Trump 45 behind the scenes, I'm talking about like the deep status and stuff like that, that was still an extension of the Obama presidency. Yeah. Because nothing got done.
Yeah. Trump didn't realize what he had gotten himself into that first time around, I think.
Yeah.
He played defense the whole time. He had to.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And I find it fantastic that the mistake that he learned from that Trump has learned from the mistakes of the previous administration. He kept it, a couple things that I've noticed. One, his circle of influence got very, very small. Two, the same operators that he had, who were deep state, like creatures of Washington, if you want to call them that. They're not there, or at least not within his inner circle. I mean, I know there are some people who were concerned about, I don't know, like Marco Rubio, but Marco Rubio's turned out to be like one of the biggest, one of the biggest dogs in his cabinet. Next to maybe Vice President Vance. But what? I mean, again, like I don't understand these guys. Like, I don't understand the Curtis Yarvins. I don't understand a lot of these, like, what do they call them? The Groyper types, I guess. Why in the world, like, America was not founded as a monarchy. We know nothing about it. It's not like historically coded into our DNA. Why are there people who want that?
They're disruptors. They're not going to be happy. They'd get a monarchy and they'd be just happy with it. These people aren't going to be happy no matter what they get, but they need to be subversive and they need to be loud, and they're not very useful. So that's
like the easiest job for a commentator, is to like be the complainer and to diagnose the problems and say everything's terrible. That's fun. It's fun and easy, and it gets you a lot of attention. But anything beyond that, providing solutions and plotting a way forward is a little bit harder work, and a lot of these guys just aren't into it.
Yeah,
I think that's the key. I mean, your megaphone gets a lot bigger if you say the most outlandish or anti-American stuff you can, or go against the grain and what we've been accepted as what's morally in the Overton window. If you're one of those people on the outside, on either side, I think that is yelling that from the top of a mountain, then you get a lot of people listening to you. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people will support you, and then you suddenly become prominent. It's a lot harder to be a moderate and get any sort of prominence.
And we live in the freest country in the world, and it's not perfect.
Exactly.
There's things we could do that could make us more free, but nothing they're yelling is going to make us more free. It's going to take us even further into the opposite direction. Yeah, let's open up the borders. You're going to import people in who don't share the culture. You're going to import people in who don't respect the Constitution, who don't believe in our rights. And that's just going to water down what we have. That's not going to make us more free.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what we're up against.
If anything, it turns us into the UK. It turns us into Canada. I've got a couple of things that I'll share a little bit later. It's like Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the UK, all of a sudden, like, and this is how you know they're losing, right? Like the acceleration at which this is going. You've got the British people over there, like begging their government to do something. To these people are genuinely hurting. I've talked about this. I've talked about this the last couple shows. You've got rape gangs that have come from different countries who are preying on children, women and children in this country, in the UK. You've got the people of that land practically begging for assistance. Stop the boats from coming to the shores. And instead of doing what works, Keir Starmer says, oh, well, we're going to do digital ID.
Yeah. So think about what I'd said earlier about the grievances and who was America trying to flee? Britain.
Exactly.
What are they doing? Importing people in to rape and murder its own citizens. So nothing has changed. So they can beg the government. And I mean, the colonists, how they started, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, they wrote a letter to King George prior to the Declaration of Independence. And they're like, we can make an agreement with you. It was the Olive Branch petition. And they said, we can make an agreement with you, just kind of let us kind of self-govern, and we're not going to disrupt anything you do. It was kind of what they had suggested. But instead he responds that they're in rebellion. And that's when he drops all of this tyranny onto them. That says
the Intolerable Acts. Is that right?
No, Intolerable Acts came later.
Oh, okay. So there's some pre-tyranny. What was the pre-tyranny?
So Intolerable Acts actually came before this. This came following the Boston Tea Party. So
I see. Okay.
In 1774. So this is about 1775, 1776 when they offer this olive branch petition. Say, we'll stop it.
Yes.
That's when he's like, no, you're an open rebellion, and that's when he was like, okay, you know what? If you commit speech crimes, that's treason. You can be drawn and quartered for committing speech crimes. And that's when he really levied stuff that was even worse than the Intolerable Acts onto America.
Jesus.
Yes. So this is what we're seeing in the UK. And I'm just like, hey guys, you want to borrow our letter? Got it right there. I know you just got to change a few words. Make it look like you didn't copy us, change a few things.
Yeah.
But they're living. Nothing has changed since 1776.
Do you think that a revolution like that is even possible today? Like, I
They're
imagine,
disarmed.
like, if the British people rose up, declared independence, or said it's time for us to throw off this government that has failed to serve and protect our rights. Like, what does it even look like in a modern context? Is it even possible?
They need a France equivalent, essentially. I mean, we weren't disarmed. So the reason that they marched into Lexington and Concord were for two main reasons. One was they were going to disarm the colonists, and they were going to disarm Massachusetts because they knew that there was rebellion was growing. So they went to Lexington and Concord to take their guns and take their powder. And they also went to capture John Hancock and Sam Adams. Those were the two reasons that they went. And that's why the war happened in 1775. It wasn't because of taxes. It was because they were trying to take the guns. Britain's already disarmed. They're already disarmed over there. So they would need somebody who's armed like America to come in there and say, okay, you can't do this anymore.
Or they're going to have to, it'd have to be an uprising with big numbers. So it would have to require, police would have to try. Police wouldn't be able to, because police aren't armed either, right? Mm-hmm. Unless they get some guns, unless the government provides guns. So they'd have to start like killing people or something like that, getting close to killing people and scaring enough people that they have to go back in their house. I think it is possible to have a revolution in a place like that, especially since I don't know if Britain's really that strongly armed anymore in a lot of ways.
They're not.
But it could get real ugly, especially if there's like a big.
You could say that we have a better case today to invade and liberate the UK than we had to invade Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's crazy.
I mean, they actually do have WMDs, and if they get taken over by Islam, that's going to be a real problem. So
yeah, but I tell you what's
it's hard to stop an invasion when they're already inside your borders. That's true. And fight an enemy when they're already inside your borders.
Yeah,
that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So I feel like I kind of went. I want to apologize to you guys. I feel like I went too far, like went too quickly in something. Usually, what we do on the show is we give our guests who have been here for the first time the chance to introduce themselves to our audience. And I realized that in my haste to get that to get to all the stuff that we've got to get to, I kind of went right over that. So I do apologize.
Oh, come on, Isaiah. Our guests need no introduction. Come on, you know that.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you guys should definitely share if you're sharing what you want to work on, what you're working on, or
absolutely
how you'd like to be known. Even though we kind of did introduce them before.
Yeah, we didn't, and that was.
No, we did. We did. We gave a little bit of info.
Yeah, we did.
Don't sell yourself short, Isaiah. Come on.
Okay. Josie, since you're here for since ladies first, obviously. In the words of Tim, Mr. Poole, who are you? What do you do?
I do outside and inside media work for Timcast. Let me see. I have a coffee through Cast Brew Coffee. So yep. It's called the 76 Signature Brew. So you can go over to Cast Brew Coffee and try that. Nice. It's so good. It's like chocolate and vanilla, and it smells so good. I want to turn it into a candle. It's amazing. I can't believe it's my coffee.
So I can see an old school pistol there too.
Oh yeah, this is a
revolutionary one.
This is George Washington's pistol. It's a model of it.
What's that called?
It's George Washington's pistol.
It's a model of General Washington's pistol, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
That's
beautiful.
That is really cool.
Exactly.
I want to get one of those now.
I want that.
Yeah.
Baller.
Wow.
Baller, man.
Like even the engraving on the bump stock is crazy.
Yes.
Wow. That was beautiful. Thank you for that. A quick question about the coffee though, because I'm a coffee, like a little bit of a coffee connoisseur. Mm-hmm. Is that a light roast, medium roast, or dark?
It's a light roast. We went with light roast for this one. So it's a little different because I know most people try to drink like a medium or a dark roast, but we did a light roast, and it really tastes like a dessert coffee. I know it's the 4th of July coffee, but it's like I want it on Christmas morning. It's just got this like warm, like delicious, sweet. I mean, you can drink it black, and it tastes amazing, and you don't have to sweeten it with cream or sugar or anything like that. It's just got these amazing it's all natural. It's just got these amazing notes of chocolate and vanilla in it, and it smells so good.
I might have to order a bag. I gotta order a bag.
Yeah, I hope I told you on it. I did want to say, Joel, that we have something in common. From the last regime, I was also banned from X. So
that's right. Yeah.
Libertarian. Yep, I was banned as well. So look at us. We're uncancelable.
Wow. I was.
What were you banned for, Josie?
No idea. I tried to get on one day and couldn't.
Wow.
So yeah, at the time I had about maybe 80,000 followers. So I was banned. And then the week Elon Musk, it was about a year and a half. It was right after the inauguration when I got banned. So I think it was politically motivated, but I don't know. But the week Elon Musk, the day after he announced he was buying Twitter, I got my page back. No questions asked. They just opened my page back up. So that was interesting.
Shout out to Papa Elon.
Yeah.
I was banned in 2021 for almost 4 months because I refused to call a man a woman. And I ended up, like Twitter 1.0 was like that.
I can't believe we lived through that in this country.
That was rough.
I think back on a lot of what we lived through in those 4 years, and I can't believe it. I can't believe that was my country, and it happened so slowly. That's how tyranny happens. But we came out of it, and now we can look back and say, "Oh my God!" There were political prisoners. There were speech crimes. The government was chilling speech by messaging that the FBI was in the Slack chats for private companies to say, no, you need to silence these people. Like, the fact that happened it's alarming, it's chilling, and I'm glad that we see it now and we can move on past it and never have it happen again.
Absolutely.
We've seen so many miracles. I mean, if you would have talked to me just 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, even, I was really black-pilled. I thought it was over. I was like, I love my country. I'll be loyal to my country to the end, and I'll fight to the end. But I really do think that it's probably it. And,
there's nowhere left to go.
And this is it. Yeah, this is like if freedom, if the light of freedom goes out here, then it's out for 1,000 years until it comes back on again. And so, like the fact that with Elon, what he did with Twitter, and then Trump surviving an assassination, it's just been miracle after miracle. And I kind of love what you do, Josie, with kind of bringing back current events and connecting them to the founding and what the founding was like. And you saw that with the founding too, is that, they sought God, and God just there are all these amazing, miraculous stories of things that happened in the revolution that were just so,
especially with George Washington.
Yeah.
He was divinely protected. And there's a story about this that used to be in the history books and it isn't there anymore. Obviously they stripped that kind of stuff out, but what it was there was so George Washington, he was famous for like riding into hails of bullets and never getting shot. And he had this coat that was just laced with bullets. He had horses shot out from under him. He had this bullet laced coat that he would wear to give speeches to be inspirational. Never got shot. And there is a famous story of an Indian chief who, during, I believe it was the French and Indian War, so it was back when he was like pretty much a red coat, but it was during the French and Indian War, and he shot George Washington. He's like, I shot you. My men shot you. We saw this happen. So George Washington, years later, after getting shot by this Indian chief, the Indian chief is dying, and he says, bring me to this man. He's nearby again. This is some decades later. He goes, I need to meet the man who is divinely protected by the great creator. I need to meet him. And then when he met George Washington, he said, I shot you and you didn't fall. My men shot you and you didn't fall. And then when you read George Washington's letters, everyone's like, oh, he was a deist. He didn't believe in God. And maybe later in his life that could have been. But his letters all credit God. He's like, I don't know. I went into this war and there was fog that came out of nowhere. And we were able to win this battle because of this fog that came out of nowhere. And it's all written. And he's like, I can only explain it by God. So this country, it was created. I mean, it was created by God. It was founded by God, and it was led by God through George Washington.
And George is a big guy too. He's a big target. Was he like 6'6" or something like that?
He was 6'2", I think, but that was enormous.
I thought he was a little bigger than that. No.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but it was enormous. Everybody else was 5'4". I mean, James Madison was 5'4", and that was
like 5'4", 5'5". Yeah.
So they'd see this huge guy, because they were all tiny little things, and they'd see this huge guy and towered over everybody. So that's where,
Wow.
Now, speaking of miracles too, I mean, if you think about the media landscape, it's like if there wasn't social media or YouTube or podcasts during this time, that would have been it. We would just we would have been swept up completely by men could be women, women could be men. White supremacy is the biggest problem on earth. We have to abolish whiteness. Open borders as their only way to go. Diversity is our biggest strength. Like, we would have been totally swept up in that, because that's what they teach throughout the institutions, with nobody to criticize it on TV besides Fox News, and it probably only a matter of time before they took that off the air. So the fact that, I mean, social media obviously has a lot of downsides, but the fact that there was even that we had podcasts and we had independent media, that came just at the right time.
Citizen journalism too.
Yeah. Because there's nowhere else to go. You'd have to listen to radio and watch cable news, and that's it. And that's all controlled.
Exactly.
Joel's in the words of Mr. Poole, who are you and what do you do, sir?
Yeah, my name's Joel Berry. I help run the Babylon Bee. I'm the managing editor. I've been doing that since 2019. And you know, and then on Twitter, I'm not funny on Twitter. I'm funny for my 8 to 5 job, and I'm always trying to think of funny stuff for my work. And then I kick back and relax by like fighting with people on Twitter. That's how I relax. So, it's really fun. I enjoy it. You know, I give the occasional speech. I write the occasional book. You know, and you know, it's always been a ride, and that I've always kind of just felt God is taking me somewhere, and I'm just kind of trying to say yes to whatever I can. You know, Lord, send me, use me however you will, and it's been fun. So I don't know what's next, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing now.
God's been putting that on a lot of people's hearts of late.
Joel, how much has the bee been beating the onion's ass for like the last 10, 15 years? Like I feel like it's got to be serious, because I don't ever see the onion anymore.
I think, well, so we started in 2016, and I think probably by 2019, 2020, our traffic had eclipsed the onions by a lot. And now, and that the onion, you know, kind of what happened with the onion is what happened with a lot of comedians, what happened with late night.
Right.
Trump came along, they lost their sense of humor. They got too big for their britches and thought, like, you know, comedy is a platform to fight for democracy, and you know, like, and they just lost their sense of humor. And they
also were detached from truth. That was a big problem. You need to have some attachment to truth and reality, and you know, late night television. Jimmy Kimmel gets you know, canceled for a couple days because he says, oh, the guy who killed Charlie Kirk was clearly a MAGA guy. It's like, what are you saying right now? Are you just lying, or you couldn't take the time at all to, like, you and your huge team of people to be like, is that true before we say this stupid fucking joke? You know, it's like it's I mean, unless you're in that bubble, it's not funny. It's like you just totally just lied.
Yeah, I think that's been like the big part of the charm of the Bee. I think is that, like, all of our writers we're all just like, we're dads. We live in the Midwest and, you know, in the South, and we have kids, and we're, you know, we didn't grow up in like the New York comedy scene and pay our dues and clubs, and you know, it like there used to be a track that you had to follow to write comedy, you know, and the internet did this wonderful thing where, you know, suddenly we realized that there are funny people everywhere. I mean, there are husband and wife duos that are putting out funnier stuff than you'll see on SNL and in most comedy clubs now.
Indeed.
So,
yeah.
You know, it's been fun to see what the internet is just kind of, it's just let everyone have a microphone, and the people who have talent that otherwise wouldn't have been discovered have been discovered, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, I mean, to that, like, to my point before too, it's like I can see, you know, I lean conservative pretty deep. I used to be a Democrat. I used to be a Democrat back in the day for probably most of our adult lives. That's why it's APOSTATE radio, because we left the party, I guess. But you know, I can still listen to people making fun of conservatives and laugh, but there has to be some truth attached to it. There has to be like, okay, yeah, it's kind of true. Conservatives do that. That's funny. Yeah, Trump does that. That's pretty funny. But when it's just totally based on, like, they're all white supremacists and racists, it's like you totally lost me, man. You lost me. Like the freaking Tom Hanks with the MAGA hat where he wouldn't shake the black guy's hand and shit. It's like, what? Really? Is this? I haven't seen anybody like that in my freaking life ever.
That SNL skit was actually going very well until they got to that point, and that's when all the truth was gone. We're like, well, it's not funny anymore.
Yes.
Why?
I'm out of that suspension of disbelief at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they tried.
Anyway, where were we, man? What the hell were we talking about before?
Antifa.
I don't like
Portland. Did you see that? Did you see the congresswoman from Portland that she took a picture of this this playground, and she's like, "Look how peaceful it is here. We don't need Trump's troops." You know?
I didn't get to see that. No. But
no, it sucks because they're gonna make that look like it's, you know, it's a fascist takeover, and they're just beating up poor innocent protesters when these guys have been throwing rocks and fire bombs and milkshakes with cement at police and journalists like Andy Ngo for years, terrorizing Portland for a whole year at least, and since then I'm sure plenty of times as well, and, like, you know, trying to burn down courthouses. Like, these are terrorists. These are violent terrorists.
to frame it as fascism because it is the state going into one of its republic states. And so it's easy to frame it that way. However, it's within the states are being invaded. It's protected by Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution. It says that this is our job right now because you're invaded by these terrorists. We need to stop them, and it's divinely protected. So, they can say, well, this is just a fascist takeover, but it's actually a constitutional check of power for the states because they're not enforcing the Constitution. They're not protecting the people. So that's where the government comes in.
They're not even. In fact, I would argue that there's a vested interest in them not doing this. I want to say this because it's driven me crazy that there are people who are doing this. I was trying to bring it up while you were talking about this. Here we go. I pulled it. I got it. But I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've heard a lot about how rough Baltimore is. It's a rough town. I was on a show last night where most of the people are like come from neighborhoods I'm familiar with, some that I even grew up in. And what amazes me is that Brandon Scott tried this foolishness a few weeks ago. The mayor of Baltimore and Governor Wes Moore. They tried this foolishness by having this gigantic photo op and this big march within this neighborhood called Park Heights. Okay, one of the roughest neighborhoods in Baltimore historically. Okay, and then I see this from because essentially what they did was they're like, well, we want to showcase that there's absolutely nothing wrong, that everything's fine, there's nothing to worry about. Chicago is safe. I think JB Pritzker did something like this where he took a video on the lakefront out there. It's like it's almost like they're literally getting high on their own supply. Basically, it's like they've told people this foolishness that everything's fine, crime is at 30-year lows, and they say this stuff all the time. So that's where this makes me so angry. Okay, where Kevin Dahlgren said, I filmed this yesterday, Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, scenes from war-ravaged Portland today. My message to Trump's troops, you are not needed, you are not wanted, go home. To which Dahlgren replied, I filmed this yesterday, Congresswoman, which is...
Nobody cares about absolutely either. The only reason I care about fellas is that, bro, everybody's targeting me on the side that's weak.
Holy crap.
Secret. You literally have to harvest God in order to censor me. Right. You're allowed to do it on behalf of not give it up.
He's having a rough day.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Is he doing choreography? What's that?
How in the world?
Well,
as someone who's lived in cities all of my life, that disturbs me. New York is like that too, in spots. 8th Avenue. Go walk 8th Avenue in Manhattan. Like between 34th Street and 42nd Street. Really between 34th Street and 55th. There is something about Democrats where they've lost their humanity.
It's limousine liberal privilege. She's like, oh, look at this beautiful, like here. It's like there's a meme and it shows all the different statistics of all the different violent crime, and it shows, say, the white on black crime, and it's like this little thing, but that's where the camera's pointed. And that's what we're seeing. That's what she did. She did the meme and she zoomed in on this one little spot in Portland where there happened to not be drug addicts all cracked out with heroin needles hanging out of their arm at that moment. We obviously know that that's happening, but it's gaslighting. And all it does is creates images. So you're going to remember images more than you're going to remember words. So what she's doing, she's creating an image for these people to remember and be like, wait, why are there people invading this park? This is safe. I saw it with my own eyes. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, was it safe at 11 p.m. the night before, or is it safe near the courthouse or near the ICE office or?
I responded to her with a picture that I took back in 2006. It's a beautiful sunset, kind of the sun. You can see it peeking through the palm trees. It's a lovely picture. And I said, I took this picture in Fallujah in 2006.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So, pictures can be deceiving.
I've never understood. Well, wait a minute. Did you serve? Did you serve, Joel? Were you when you were in Fallujah?
Yeah. I was a Marine infantryman over there.
Oh,
thank you for your service, man.
Thank you for your service, brother. Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Made out of there.
Wow. Wow. You know what? Man, oh man. I don't know if you can hear that, but gotta get
that audio. Something's wrong with that audio, Isaiah.
No, I'm guessing we're about the same age.
That was a round of applause, or at least we tried to. I gotta fix that. Anyways.
That's very fuzzy.
Was it? Ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Well, why is it that Democrats have just insisted upon doing this? I don't understand, like, this denialism. There are places, like here in New York City. I'm gonna give you an example of one. Brooklyn Bridge Park in, obviously, Brooklyn. Okay, some of the best views of the East River and Lower Manhattan, like you wouldn't believe. If y'all are ever up here, make sure you visit. But that's not
Dumbo, is it?
It is Dumbo.
Dumbo Park.
Part of
a nice park. Yeah, that's a nice park.
Part of it's in Dumbo, and then like the newer parts of it run like across the BQE. Like you look up above the highway and you see like Brooklyn Heights, like where all the old brownstones and stuff are. There is this, like, I could go, this is like, I could take a picture or a video and be like, here we are. There's nothing wrong with New York City, making the assumption that everything throughout everywhere you go, anywhere you go in the city is just like this. And it's this, I don't understand this urge that Democrats have to just be in complete denial of the truth and to just refuse to do what people are begging and pleading for them to do. It actually hurts. It hurts to watch. Josie, what is there even an historical like context in this? Like, have we seen anything like this in our lifetime, like before in this country?
It's hard to say. Right now, we're living in a post-Smith-Mundt Act era. So Smith-Mundt Act was the Propaganda Act. And in 2012, in the NDAA, they repealed and replaced it with the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. And in doing so, they lifted the domestic dissemination ban. So propaganda was able to flow into our country for the first time freely since World War II. And if you think about when you were watching the news and realized you were being propagandized, and I think we all kind of have a moment where we're like, hold on, wait a second. Mine was Trayvon Martin. And I was just like, the way it was being reported, I was like, I'm being propagandized right now. What in the world? And I didn't learn this about the Smith-Mundt Act turning into the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act until years and years later. And it all made sense. And then if you Google this, okay? If you Google Smith-Mundt Act repealed or overturned, if you Google it, the first article that comes up is going to be an article saying, no, that didn't happen. And it did.
Wow.
And then if you go to the act itself, if you go to the NDAA and find the act itself, and I swear they've removed the pages that talk about it.
I believe
it's really, really deep. It is deep. It is sinister. So people have been suggesting that they put it back. like, you got to put the domestic dissemination ban back. We are living in chaos right now. If any government can do it, this is the government that can put it back. And they want to name it the Charlie Kirk Act because they believe that whoever killed him was propagandized. So, so that's what's going on now. In history, I mean, it wasn't, I mean, with the war, because there was war propaganda. That's why we have the Smith-Mundt Act, but there's nothing like this.
For those who might not know, I actually have the Smith-Mundt Act pulled up. It's HR 5736, 112th Congress. It says amends the United States amends the United States Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948 to authorize the Secretary of State and the Broadcasting Board of Governors to provide for the preparation and dissemination of information intended for foreign audiences abroad about the United States, including about its people, its history, and the federal government's policies. Authorizes the Secretary and the Board to make available in the United States motion pictures, film, videos, audio, and other materials prepared for dissemination abroad or disseminated abroad pursuant to such act. It states that this is it right here. I mean, how could they say that something doesn't exist when I found this in 2 clicks?
Yep. Well, it's because that's what they'll do a Google and then they'll take the first answer, and that's the truth. If you want to know something that goes back to this, that's just creepy. It makes your skin crawl. Walt Disney testified in 1948.
I remember
about
this.
the anti-American, the people who were behaving anti-American. And essentially, he was protesting about the communists, and he went and you could read his speech that he gave, and it will make your skin crawl. He pretty much predicted Hollywood as we see it today. He said that it's being infiltrated. Now, what the communists did is they did what they always did. Their whole thing was to tie somebody who's a detractor to a label that already stinks. And the best way to do this in the letter from Communist HQ to American communists was to tie them to fascist, was to tie them to anti-Semite, and to tie them to Nazi.
To Nazis.
So what did they do to Walt Disney? They tied him to anti-Semite, right?
Yes,
so
they did.
They tied him to that. So even Family Guy did a whole episode about how he was anti-Semitic. However, Walt Disney, all he did was testify against the communists. He wasn't anti-Semitic. He made 4 anti-Nazi films and released them through Disney during the era where we still had propaganda. He made 4 anti-Nazi propaganda films. He wasn't anti-Semitic, but that's what happens. That's what the communists do. And that's what the communists are doing now. They're tying the right wing, through the ADL or however they're doing it, to Nazis, to anti-Semites. It's the same exact playbook.
Constantly for like the last 10, 15 years, I think.
Southern Poverty Law. They were doing it through them.
Yeah.
Exactly. People, they should be repudiated. Yes. What they do, they hold the monopoly on truth, and they do exactly what they're charged not to do. Like the Anti-Defamation League, all they do is defame. All they do, they take these people and they defame them.
Yep. That's all they do. That's all they do.
I've
never, it's crazy. I mean, especially, in today's day and age. I mean, and this is, I do want to talk about this real quick because I know we don't have you for much longer, Josie. This situation with Stephen Miller, because we're talking about the things that smell, right? Like titles that smell. It appears that whoever's running Gavin Newsom's X account is just spamming. Just spamming.
Yeah, really crazy. It's kind of unhinged.
About a month or two ago, I actually quote tweeted something they were saying, and I said, I don't know who's running this, but it stinks. Something like, I feel like, I don't know if it's China. I don't know like what their ties are. I feel now like the ties are to Antifa, but they were artificially boosted. If you look at a lot of their posts, even earlier on, you could tell that they were being fakely boosted. They were being astroturfed. And that was to, fake it till you make it kind of thing, which is what some of the large accounts have done. And I mean, they'd have like 5 comments, but then like 40,000 likes, things that didn't make sense like that. And that's how you know. And so I quote tweeted, I said, something doesn't make sense. And after that, I was targeted. I was targeted by bots or by something that was saying like, how dare you call this out? But now I think it's something that does need to be investigated because it is working on behalf of a governor of a state. And it violates the supremacy clause. It goes against a lot of the powers that the federal government does have, the things that they're suggesting. So it does need to be investigated. It is linked somehow to communism, there's an anti-fascist link there. I don't know who's running it, but they've kind of put a face on it, which is just some nerd with like a bow tie. And I just can't imagine that that's it. So
I can listen, listen, just for, like, honestly, I did not expect for when Charlie got murdered, I saw people that I'd never even expected. Housewives, all sorts of people just celebrating his death, look like bloodthirsty. So even though that guy, and yes, that is one of the guy with the glasses that really with that kind of shit-eating grin on his face, like that guy actually is the one who runs his press account. Joel, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's the frightening thing about leftism and what we've seen with the surge in leftist violence too is, when you look at the studies of politically motivated attacks and violence, you do see some on the right, but when you filter out the people who are severely mentally ill, like paranoid schizophrenics and like legitimately insane people high on drugs, most of what you're left with is sane leftists who are just working out the logical conclusions of their ideology. I mean, a lot of these people that we've seen recently their manifestos, the talking points of their manifestos read like something you'd see on Gavin Newsom's Twitter feed or, what you'd hear on CNN. It's not out there. It's not wild. And that's, it's the way communism has always been. It's always been a blood-fueled, murder-fueled ideology, because at its core, it's a rebellion against the natural order. It's a rebellion against God, and you can only do that so long before you kind of go nuts. It's as old as Cain and Abel, and we're seeing it play out now.
Hey, Isaiah, before Josie has to leave, I want to read an excerpt to you guys. That goes along with what I want to say. Like, you keep on hearing things like, mental illness, which is a big part of it. Social media is what's causing like these mass shootings and stuff like that. But I think there's, obviously it's not the Second Amendment. The liberals always try to say it's just like guns or whatever. It's like clearly not, because people just started doing mass shootings since like 97, and it wasn't even that common until like 10 years ago or something like that, right? So something's happening in the culture. One of probably the book I'm most influenced by, I don't know if you guys have read this, but it's The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt, social psychologist. It's like the Bible on moral psychology. And Jonathan Haidt is, when he wrote this, he was a partisan Democrat. He still probably leans a little bit Democrat, but he's a moderate. He doesn't like MAGA, but he really hates the woke left too. Or I don't know if I should use the word hate. But anyways, when he wrote this, he was hated Reagan, hated Bush. He was a partisan Democrat. And through his studying of Emil Durkheim, who's like the foremost sociologist ever, I think, basically like the godfather of sociology, he said that, I'm just going to read this little excerpt here from the chapter, Religion is a Team Sport. He goes, religions are moral exoskeletons. If you live in a religious community, you are enmeshed in a set of norms, relationships, and institutions that work primarily on the elephant to influence your behavior. The elephant meaning like your underlying intuitions that like really guide everything you do, more so than your rationality, because the underlying emotions is actually kind of pushes you more. So where was I? To work primarily on the elephant to influence your behavior. So he goes, but if you are an atheist living in a looser community with a less binding moral matrix, you might have to rely somewhat more on an internal moral compass read by the writer, which is like I said, your rationality. That might sound appealing to rationalists, but it's also a recipe for anomie. It's a French word, which means Durkheim's word for what happens to a society that no longer has a shared moral order. He goes, it means literally normlessness. We evolved to live, trade, and trust within shared moral matrices. When societies lose their grip on individuals, allowing all to do as they please, the result is often a decrease in happiness and an increase in suicide, as Durkheim showed more than 100 years ago. Now, mind you, he wrote this in 2012. Societies that forego the exoskeleton of religion should reflect carefully on what will happen to them over several generations. We don't really know because the first atheistic societies have only emerged in Europe in the last few decades. They are the least efficient societies ever known at turning resources, of which they have a lot, into offspring, of which they have very few. That is from The Righteous Mind. And he predicted what we're seeing here already. And I think it was 2012 when he wrote that.
Josie, you want to give a thought about that?
Yeah, I want to actually read an exchange about that I had with Charlie.
Oh,
Seems I don't know, kind of like a.
Did he mention that book?
No, he didn't mention the book, but he mentioned the moral framework.
Oh, okay, interesting.
please.
Yeah, please do. That'd be great.
So he wrote, the question in front of all of us as the American church is that we have had this beautiful blessing called the United States of America handed down to us by our forefathers. This idea of liberty is God's idea, not man's idea. And whether or not the United States of America will continue to exist is in any recognizable form is completely and solely dependent on whether or not those who call themselves Christian churches in America will be willing to say, Lord, I'm here, use me for your purpose, and will elevate the fight to truth, freedom, liberty, America, much more than ease and comfort. And I said, when Washington, Jefferson, Adams, Madison, and even Patrick Henry spoke of America, they all espoused the same idea, that without an equal moral framework, it would fail. They each accredited this framework to God. And Charlie responded, absolutely. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emil Durkheim 100 years ago said that he studied why people were having higher suicide in certain countries and communities. And he said a lot of it was atheism. They didn't have norms. They didn't have expectations anymore. They didn't have a shared moral matrix of what's right, what's wrong. We don't have that so much anymore, unless you're like in a religious community, or unless you're like kind of conservative, or like you happen to be from a community that has those values. Certainly not in the cities. I mean, the cities are out of control. And I mean, the only morality has been backwards woke morality, where it's like telling you to be tribal, telling you to hate white people and men and America and everything you came from, and be ungrateful about everything, be envious, be violence. I mean, that's, and of course, then there's no God or anything like that to hold these people together either, and bind them together with the transcendent feeling that binds people together. It's as only religion, or at least faith, can really do.
That's what's been interesting about like what we've seen with the new atheists like Richard Dawkins, and even people like Elon Musk in recent years and months have been like, wow, okay, shoot, I think there's something to this Christianity thing. I don't know if I believe it, but like I think we need it. Which is an incredible admission from a lot of these guys who, I mean, Richard Dawkins just 5-6 years ago was not only saying, he was saying that religion was like a cancer that needed to be eradicated. And now he's saying, oh shoot, we need this thing. And, my whole point has always been that, okay, if this is the only way that society can work, then maybe there's something to it. Maybe that speaks to its truth. And I do think that we're seeing maybe a bit of a spiritual revival, like among kind of the intellectual class. They're kind of finding this back door into the faith, just because they realize that it's the only way that life can work properly.
Yeah, it's like, if religion is at the very least an evolutionary tool, and I do think it's more than that. I think there's such a thing as God, and religion is a kind of a way to develop a human relationship with the divine, and also have a shared moral matrix. And it helps people do things they couldn't do separately, do things together that they wouldn't be able to do separately without religion. That's one of the definitions of it. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's definitely an evolutionary tool for us to help us humans get together and do things they couldn't do, like building incredible cities and going to war, and being willing to sacrifice yourself for your neighbor. It also helps solve what's called the free rider problem of like people who kind of want to go along for the ride and mooch. If you're more of a religious person and you feel like God's watching you and people are watching and all that, you're less likely to do that. You're more likely to actually help out and carry your part of the burden. There's a lot of different things in that book, The Righteous Mind. And actually, it's funny, Joel, you mentioned the New Atheist, because that chapter is also, he actually lays down the gauntlet against Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and the New Atheist. And he's an atheist himself, by the way. He's a Jewish atheist. But he said, you know what? Actually, we learned that religion actually is good. It's definitely not the way they described it. There's actually a lot of uses for it. It's too bad that they didn't study this deeper. Like, it's a really interesting chapter.
What irritates me is that there really is a God-shaped hole in people's hearts these days. It really is. I mean, even
100%.
Because what's happened is that people have turned into walking black holes. People have allowed, like, when you remove God from your life, when you remove that piece of you that is directly connected to the divine, and you instead go to whatever, like, again, that heart, that God-shaped hole in your heart, then becomes a black hole. It just sucks. And you become, instead of being outwardly directed, you become inwardly directed. I've talked about this before. And there are so many people walking around these days who are so inwardly directed that it's a wonder they can eat it. Like, their moral compasses are just gone. There's nothing left of these people. It's just, I'm going to do what I'm like I'm going to do whatever I want to do as long as it gives me pleasure. And it's genuinely frustrating to watch.
And they're also overwhelmed by chaos, I think, too, Isaiah, if you notice.
It's like narcissism. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look at how many tattoos a lot of these guys have. Like, you know, I'm not nothing against tattoos. I have a couple tattoos. I might get another one. But, like, they're just like, they look like they got somebody stamping them, like, you know, all over their legs, all over there. It's like, what do you look like a goddamn passport. What is this?
It's dopamine. It's a quick dopamine hit,
Yes.
and it's immediate pleasure. John Adams had written in his address to the Massachusetts militia, October 11th, 1798. That's when he wrote his quote. It was, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people, and that it is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." And it's the thing is, because people are like, well, we're not a Christian nation. We weren't founded on this because we have freedom of religion, and we do have freedom of religion. They're just looking for something to tie us all together. That's why our money says, "In God we trust." This is just the way that we are, and you can still practice any religion that you want in America. But it's just, you have to share the same code of ethics, and a lot of that, for our founders, primarily, that all came from their teachings from the Bible. So you don't have to get your moral ethics from the Bible. If some people were never raised with God and they're not immoral people, you can find them elsewhere. But this was kind of a universal way to tie them all together. And even people who weren't that religious still felt it.
I mean, it's I think Jordan Peterson talks about this all the time, but I mean, you're talking about, you know, 2,000 years of Christian morality that built Europe, and then later on the United States and North America, South America, Latin America, Australia, you name it. I mean, that was all mainly Christians who founded it, and Christians who, you know, the morality that inspired our laws, their enlightenment and everything. So you can't really pry those away. I think it's kind of, when people say this isn't a Christian nation, like that's only partly true. Like, that's not completely true. I don't care. I mean, I even know there's a separation of church and state and all that. And I think it is definitely based on a lot of Judeo-Christian morality and all that, for sure.
Josie, I know that you've got a jet, and I want to first thank you for coming on with us. I greatly appreciate you being here. Where can everyone find you? And again, if there's anything else besides that coffee.
That's my big thing right now. Well, thank you again for having me. Thank you for letting me talk, and for letting me talk about revolutionary history any chance I get to. We're not taught it. We weren't taught the way that it's meant to be taught. We weren't taught the truth. And so my goal with what I do is to get to the bottom of the truth of what actually happened, what we actually fought for. So for instance, the Boston Tea Party wasn't over a 2% tax on tea. It was over fascism. King George was in bed with the East India Company. They weren't paying any taxes, and he had given the entire tax burden to the colonists. And that's why they were mad. Because in doing that, the East India Company was able to undercut the entrepreneurs in America. And so that's what they were fighting over. But we're not taught to be mad about real fascism. Like, that's true fascism. No. We're not taught to be mad about that. That's the holy alliance between state and corporation. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to do, that I like to teach about. And you can find that on TRHL Official over on X. That's where I do most of my stuff. And I also do outside media work for Timcast. So I suggest going to timcast.com and subscribing over there to everything. I have a show called Spaces with Josie that I do on Monday nights. Tomorrow I have on Adam Johnson, the lectern guy. And I just like to interview people and get their hero arc. And that's what I do over there. And I do that once a week, and that's on X and that's on Rumble as well. So follow Spaces with Josie and Timcast Media across all streaming platforms and over on Rumble, and buy my coffee, gasbrew.com.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for coming on, Josie. I greatly appreciate you. Feel free to come back.
Thanks a lot, Josie.
Really, because
we got to have you on again.
Yeah, we do.
Anytime you want to come promote or anything, let us know. Come jump on.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. It was nice to meet you all, Nick, Isaiah, and Joel.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
We'll do it again sometime. Right. Yeah. Have a good one.
Oh my God. What a day, man. Joe, first off, Joe,
if you need to stand up and do some jumping jacks, be our guest. That's all right.
We're good.
He's former Marine. He does He does.
What do we have? Like 4 hours left? We got this.
Yeah, we usually end around 1:30 a.m.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Wow.
The marathon.
Yeah. So there's actually, it's so funny, Joel. You mentioned something earlier about. Well, hold on. It was mentioned earlier about how. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought. Josie mentioned that, the old Adams quote that that this country was founded for a moral society, a moral people.
Yeah,
I want to play this thing.
And honestly, to that point, almost all societies have been. By the way,
true.
There hasn't been many. I mean, just like Jonathan Haidt just said in that excerpt, right, where he said, 2012, he said this is the first time we've ever had atheistic societies in the last several decades, like last, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever, where we really gotten a lot more atheistic. And he's like, we'll see how that goes, basically. And it's already not going too well.
It ain't going well at all. I've never seen.
Everybody had religions. Everybody had religions.
If you had like an atheistic society is how you end up with Canada. Like, that's serious.
Or
that's
Europe.
how you end up with Canada. That's how you end up with the UK.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Something's going to fill that vacuum. Atheism is a vacuum, and it will be filled by something. And right now, we're seeing it, as in the UK and in Canada, it's being filled by Islam. And that's why I've always said to people, your choices are Islam or Christianity. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Or atheism, if you want to do like state enforced atheism, like Soviet Russia or
right.
We've seen how that went. I think I'm encouraged though, because it seems like a lot of people are seeing that. Hopefully it's not too little, too late. But
totally.
But there does seem to be, like you said, Isaiah, there's this God-shaped hole. There's this thirst that people have for the truth. They know they've been lied to for so long. There has been kind of this awakening where a lot of people have at least been awakened to the idea of evil. Okay, evil exists. I see like 9-year-old kids being like their genders being changed, and like okay, that's where I draw the line. That's evil. I've never really thought deeply about this stuff before. So, and that eventually, hopefully, leads you to seek out where the good is and where the good comes from. And that's why Charlie and what he did, what he preached, and his death and his memorial, the what we saw at his memorial, I think we just kind of saw it all come to a head. Like this hunger and thirst that people have for God and for the truth. We saw it at that memorial, and we have a lot of work to do, you know, in the coming years, to steward this. I don't know what you want to call it, spiritual energy, and channel it in the right direction, towards God and towards freedom, towards truth.
Yeah, man. I think I just wanted to say real quick, Isaiah, what Joel was saying before. I think it's interesting. You mentioned Islam taking that over, filling that hole. And it's funny because I think we did switch from, I think wokeness was kind of filling that hole for a little bit, as in like, that's a moral structure. There's even like a sacred part of it where it's like, you know, the most sacred thing in the world is a black trans lesbian Muslim woman in a wheelchair or something, right? You know,
total religion. Yeah,
you might as well put her on a cross, on a crucifix or something, right? So that's the most sacred thing, and like diversity is the most sacred thing, and in climate, the environment's the most sacred thing. Like, so they have some sense of sacredness, and they circle around it, and you can't talk about it. It's untouchable.
It's modern paganism. It's not that new, but it's the newest iteration of it. Yeah.
But it's been widely, besides institutionally, it's been widely rejected. And I think that's part of the problem that the left's having right now while they're flailing, is they're like, you know, well, what do you mean? I mean, I thought this was the way it's supposed to be. Why is everybody rejecting this? And like, it's driving them crazy. And some people are getting violent and stuff like that. Some people are getting TDS. And some of them are, as you say, moving to Islam, because that's an established religion. It could be very powerful. It's very you got to be very submissive towards it. It's easy to pull people in, and also it's a minority. You know, what they consider, it's minorities in our countries would usually be Muslim. So like, that's another safe thing. It's not white. It's not Christian. It's not European colonial terrible people.
Exactly.
It's a noble brown Muslim people. Right. So like that's safe for them.
It's a noble, savage religion.
Yeah. So you're right. That's segueing right to that.
So
and they're angry too. So that doesn't hurt, because Islam has a lot of angry and violent messaging to choose from if you want to.
I want to play this excerpt by Charlie. Okay. I think you may have an idea, based on what we were talking about earlier. This was the most incredible breakdown of how America is a moral, like is a Christian nation. I'm gonna just let Charlie speak for himself for a little bit. This is a long clip, but let's go.
I think I've seen it. It's pretty good.
Our country was founded on common law, because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution. It doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
Remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. Even in actually, 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, in the original state constitutions. So you remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. Common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, right before the most famous part of Leviticus 19, which is that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But before that is that in the administration of justice, you shall not favor the rich or the poor, which is the idea of blind justice. We get that in the West, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal: neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which we get the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas. They're not Enlightenment ideas, which is they kind of get conflated at the time. But more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. Okay. Laws of nature and nature's God. The last paragraph of the Declaration reads as a prayer. It says, we appeal to the supreme judge of the universe. Who's the judge of the universe? Jesus Christ. It says in Revelation that Jesus will judge the earth on his throne. So in the Declaration, they were praying to Christ our Lord as a prayer very specifically. Thirdly, as I said on the stage yesterday, Deuteronomy was by far the most quoted book, religious or non-religious, in the time of the founding when they were putting together the Constitution, more than John Locke, more than Montesquieu, more than Blackstone. So the book of Deuteronomy, which talked about laws, customs, traditions. It was Moses' farewell address as he's about to say goodbye, say, hey, good luck in Canaan, guys. Here's how you should set up your form of government. But finally, and most importantly, let's look at actually what the founders said. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian and was so Protestant that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population. So that's just a surface level belief. So then they'll go to the First Amendment, which has two parts of the First Amendment which get conflated. First of all, separation of church and state is not in the U.S. Constitution. That is a single letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1807 to the Danbury Baptist Convention in Massachusetts, assuring them that the government would not come after the church, okay, which is the opposite of what they would say. However, that was then resurrected by the Warren Court and the Burger Court in the 60s, where they said, hey, all of a sudden, we're now going to make this as if it's the Constitution. It does say in the Constitution two things, which is the Establishment Clause and the Free Expression Clause. The Establishment Clause is that Congress shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise thereof. What they were most worried about was a Presbyterian or a Anglican or a Quaker type religion taking over the federal government. Instead, it was that there is not going to be a state-run religion or a state-run government. Did you know that one of the first acts of Congress was taxpayer-funded Bible printing and distribution? Did you know that there were church services held in the Supreme Court building as late as the Jackson presidency in the 1820s? But going back to this idea of separation of church and state, and again, I could riff on this ad nauseum because it's just so ridiculous, right? Is that it's not biblical because first, it's not biblical. It's not constitutional because you go a layer deeper. People that even say that, do you believe?
I think we got the general.
Man, oh my gosh,
Charlie Kirk, man, he's able to rattle off a lot of facts, man. Like really,
what a loss, man. What a loss.
Yeah.
The
bright side is that his videos I think are going to be played forever, over and over again, more than they probably ever would be otherwise. And at least we're left with that kind of that push to share what he said, because he's had so much wisdom and facts.
And I want to encourage people too that, like Charlie, there was a time when Charlie was 18, 19 years old, he didn't know any of this stuff. And he dropped out of college. He decided he wanted to do this with his life. This is all self-taught. He decided he wanted to understand America. He wanted to understand the founding, and he taught himself. He read the books. This is something all of us can do. And with Charlie gone, what kind of a very sobering thought that I heard the other day. We've been hearing a lot of this triumphalist, Charlie's death has awakened a sleeping giant, and this is going to be the beginning of the new revolution. It was not necessarily. What I heard someone say the other day that assassinations sometimes work, and what happens next is not guaranteed. And the people who who love this country and want to preserve it, it's on us now to learn all this stuff and read all this stuff and teach this stuff to others that Charlie did. And we can do it. Charlie did it, we can do it. And we need a lot more people to do it. And in the meantime, share that video, because that video is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I've 100%. I think to your point, it's I hear people's I remember some of my friends or family who agree that wokeness was a big issue and stuff, and a lot of things like gender ideology, all the stuff they're doing, teaching kids, and being racist against white people and all this stuff. It's yeah, they agree it's a big problem, but they're like, oh, people will see through it. It's not a big deal. Things will get better. Don't worry about it. What's more important is Trump. Trump's too dangerous, whatever. And I'm like, to go along with what you're saying, it's not the case that just things are just going to turn out okay. like we need to do our part too. Like, Charlie Kirk, yeah, there could be a spiritual movement. Like I just said, that these videos are probably gonna be seen more than they ever would be because of this, because of his murder. But to your point, it's like, yeah, that all that can really help, the cause now that he was assassinated, to hopefully push things in the right direction. But we need to continue to push that and carry the torch, all of us.
Yeah.
And you can't just rely on like, well, now things are good, or things are, it's like, no, you can't rely on movements. You got to be part of the movement. You got to do your part. Share it share it to people, share it to your 20 friends, 100 friends, 300 friends, whatever you got, share it.
My cousin, Tavon, who goes by Wings. He's one of the most genuine dudes I've ever met. Okay. I'm not just saying that because he's family. And he's also a very talented rapper. He writes, if you don't have a God, you become that God. Then anything is justified by self. And we are arriving there in our society. I disagree with that a little bit, Cuzzo. I think we're already here. And I think we've been in that. I think we've been at that place in society for quite some time. Like I said,
a lot of people, yeah, for sure.
We're seeing the fruit of. I said it at the opening of the show. We are at a place now in our society where we're living with the fruit of the long march through the institutions. Like everything that we're dealing with right now is the end result of a project that started in the 1960s or even earlier than that.
Yuri Bezmenov warned. I don't know if you've ever seen that video, Joel, but
the Yuri Bezmenov, you've never seen that?
Former KGB guy. He warned about the in the 80s. He warned in an interview about like how the Soviets have already.
Yeah. No, I think I have seen that.
Useful idiots that are professors and journalists from the 60s on. And yeah, he said we're subversive. We're trying to, we're trying to destabilize you and everything like that. And it's like, that's what they did. They did it. Now we have to hold it together and push it the other way and hopefully get this stuff out of our institutions. But so it's not all over, but it's we're not in a good spot necessarily.
No. And then a friend of the show, Marie Isabella, said, just wanted to jump in and say hi. Sorry I've missed the last few episodes. We love you anyway, Marie. Great to we love you. Thanks for stopping by. And she asks, is this the same Joel that we successfully, I think, kept uncanceled? If so, hi. Glad you made it through.
Thank you. Every little bit of encouragement and help in that time was just a godsend to me. So thank you for everyone who sent little notes.
What was that? And I didn't know you back then. But what was that like for you? What was that to be canceled? What was that like for you? Tell us a little bit about that.
I guess
how did it start? They give us the.
So, I mean, the kind of the Groypers have had it out for me for a long time. And I mix it up with them a little bit on X every once in a while. But what will happen is a lot of these guys are these groups that will, that cancel people, put people through struggle sessions. They're looking for an opening. As soon as you tweet something that kind of is maybe ambiguously worded, that can be interpreted a certain way, gives them an opening, they'll jump on it. It gets shared, goes viral. What happened was this was maybe a few months ago, when Israel, through their offensive in Gaza, a stray tank round hits the Catholic Church that's there, hits the steeple. A few people got injured. I think
I remember that. Yeah.
And what was starting to happen was, and the left and kind of the Palestinian cause has been looking for their Gaza Floyd, their George Floyd in Gaza. for a while now, and they were starting as soon as that happened. It was kind of like a perfect storm because it's like a church, you know, it's a beautiful, pure thing. Like you have that image of the cross, and it's crumbled, and you know, and the narrative immediately began to be spun was, you know, like the bloodthirsty IDF is murdering innocent Christians. Like that's the way it was being spun, right? And so, you know, I should know better than to like enter into a rage cycle and try to and like, well, actually people and try to give you know, like context to people who just want to be in a rage spiral. But I did. And I shared some history on that church, that church in Gaza that you know, if you are an IDF soldier and you're patrolling that area and you're going by that church, you should have your eye on that church, because that the previous patriarch of that church was an avowed jihadist and believed in armed Palestinian resistance. That church has in the past given its facilities to Hamas, let them store weapons there. Some of their parishioners have acted as spotters for snipers in the past, and so you know, if you're in that, it's a danger, like anywhere else in Hamas, you know, in Gaza. Hamas has kicked out Christians from that place. You know,
Exactly.
True God-fearing Christians have been exiled or killed, right? And so you kind of now you have the skeleton crew of people who kind of cooperate with Hamas to stay alive. You know, it's maybe a few dozen people. And so I was kind of making that point, you know, and so that instantly got spun into Joel is celebrating the killing of Catholics or Christians, or Joel wants Christians to die. Joel is celebrating kids being murdered. And so, you know, it didn't really matter what I meant or what I was trying to say. What mattered was how it was spun, you know. And so my poor boss had to field thousands and thousands of emails trying to get me fired. You know, my wife was getting texts from friends, from like Catholic friends, like that she knew like 15 years ago, like, you know, asking her about me, you know, and it was what I mean, when you get it's a really frightening thing. I've been through kind of mild struggle sessions in the past before, but this was probably the biggest one I've been on the receiving end of, and it sucks, man. It's really scary, but thankfully, I mean, God be praised, I've seen enough of these to know how to handle it. So my response was pretty much just like, you guys can all just go pound sand, you know.
It's a good one. That's a good response.
You
Joe,
got
is that your first? Is that your first struggle session and/or cancel, you know, attempt from the right?
Yes, this is my first one.
That's why it's scarier, because it's it's easy if it's the left. So yeah, the left hates me. They're always trying to cancel me. Who gives a crap? It's not my people. It's not my you know, it's not my moral matrix. It's
right,
not my moral tribe. But this time it's like now the right's trying to get rid of you. That's a problem.
It's people whose opinion you care a little more about, you know what I mean? And genuinely good faith, decent people got caught up in it too. I mean, you know, like sweet Catholic old ladies who think Joel hates Catholics and wants them to die, you know, like,
and you have to address that.
And I'm like trying to explain myself to this sweet little old lady who thinks the Babylon Bee hates Catholics now. So,
and that could, I mean, I don't know if you're have full control of the Babylon Bee, but you know, if you're a partnership or something like that could be grounds to get rid of you. Like if like they feel like, hey man, it looks like half of our readership thinks you're a terrible person. It's like,
yes,
we got to do it. Otherwise, they're going to be like talking trash under our posts for the rest of our lives and never going to read it, never going to, you know. So that's the problem. Yeah.
It's very scary. They do pass, you know, these things always do pass, and you just kind of got to stay strong and really kind of give it to the Lord. You know, God, you know what I was trying to say. The good people know what I was trying to do there. I can't do anything about the bad faith people who are trying to destroy me. The results belong to you. I'm just gonna keep trucking, and all credit to my boss, my coworkers who were very kind to me in that tough time. So
when the truth is on your side, you tend to get exonerated, I think. You know,
yeah.
Well, you know, people started to look into it too. You know, my source was a Catholic journal that did journalistic research on this particular church. So like it wasn't a Catholic hating source either. So, you know, but yeah.
This is crazy, man.
It's a little hectic, man.
Yeah. I went through, I haven't gone through anything like that in terms of like a major struggle session. I guess partially because of my style. Like I remember something that almost happened where they tried to where like leftists tried to get come down on Vicky Palladino, councilwoman here in New York City. And matter of fact, Chris Hayes from MSNBC tried to come for me regarding a post I made with that yellow and black like the greatest meme of all time, basically. The one that says it's not enough to be just passively not communist, and it involves like helicopters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Greatest meme of all time, right? Greatest meme of all time. So he was trying to start something with me, and I just kind of went at him like, yes, Chris, I did say that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Are you what do you like communists? Do you like communists? And then I put up a picture of the two of us because I met him about 12 years ago at University of Baltimore. Okay, when I was in college. So my thing is this. It's like, so this thing about cancellation, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like why is it that the things I say, if they're the truth, why like why you mad?
Yeah.
If it's
that's one thing I said when the whole thing went down with
4. I'm sorry. If 2 + 2 = 4, why you mad that it doesn't equal 5, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of where I'm at with this. It's it's ridiculous.
There was kind of this controversy, you know, after Charlie was killed and all these leftists started to celebrate. And so a lot of people on the right started going after these vile people to get them fired from their jobs. And there was a bit of a debate on the right, you know, can we do this? You know, and that's one of the things I said was, you know, like, you know, conservatives cancel leftists for lying and leftists cancel conservatives for telling the truth. So it's not quite a double standard, but it is interesting. It does bring up an interesting, you know, dilemma. I guess what are your thoughts on it? Because I guess I haven't come to my own conclusions on it. I do think that, you know, like professionals who are like nurses and doctors, if you're celebrating someone's death because you differ with them politically, you shouldn't be a nurse or a doctor. That's a safety issue. You know, if you're a teacher and you're celebrating political violence, you shouldn't be a teacher. That is automatic disqualification. But, you know, like if you work at Popeye's Chicken or something like that, you know, what do you think that, I guess, where do you guys fall on that?
Ooh,
if somebody's celebrating like Charlie Kirk's murders, like, should they keep their job? Is that you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, I get it. I get why people will get fired. I mean, like, even if you are serving chicken at Popeyes, like, what if you come in with a MAGA hat on, and then the guy behind there has a little rat poison to throw in your food?
That's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that he's handling food. Look, I believe in freedom of speech, like, you know, completely. But at the same time, it's like, you know, if you're a teacher and you're teaching and you really believe that like somebody like Charlie Kirk should be killed in front of his family, and you think it's funny or you think it's cool or good, and you're teaching children, it's like, I don't know if you should have that responsibility to be teaching children. I don't know if you should have that power. You know, so I mean, there's some real questions to be asked with that. I'm not the one to try to chill free speech, but it's just, it really shows like either a glimpse of evil or just extremely misguided ignorance.
It's really troubling how many people really actually felt that they were safe and were totally comfortable doing that in public.
So
that's what happens when you call people a Nazi or fascist for 10 years, because you know, you're thinking, oh, well, that's basically Hitler they just killed. And if you support him, you're basically Hitler too. So of course you should be killed.
I work in a,
you know, you're Hitler. You're basically Hitler. You're Hitler 2025. You know, it's like that's kind of basically what they believe, more or less. I mean, at least that's how they talk. You know,
I work in, I have a 9 to 5 like outside of my exploits here in the media space, which are basically I've been dabbling in for a while, but you know, but after that big video that I did in February, where I got like 33 million views, it's like, you know what, I think there's something here, right? Like so I've been doing this for a little bit, and I work in a, you know, I work in a field that serves the public, and it's like when I saw so many of like people that I've worked with, people who I worked with in the past, you know, like old friends of mine that helped me at different stages in my life, and I'm watching these people fully embrace evil, laughing about Charlie Kirk, laughing about, you know, laughing about Charlie saying, oh, well, he should have learned how to duck, saying that his, you know, that his rhetoric made it like his rhetoric made him worthy of a death like that. And these are people, and again, like these are people who, if someone ran up in their home and took the lives of one of their young ones, or if they were killed, say, going to work in the morning on the train, on a subway, they'd be devastated. And again, like I'm sorry, they've killed people for less here in New York City.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Congress shall make no law abridging it. And having been on the wrong side, like I said, I was like for 119 days, I was suspended from Twitter. And it was empty. It was like I honestly felt like I felt demoralized. I think that was one of the first times I really felt demoralized. And I felt betrayed because I was still a Democrat at the point in 2021. I was a fervent, like I wasn't as fervent a Democrat as you know, as I once was, like back in 2020 and 2019. I voted for Biden. Sorry. Worst political mistake of my life. I think I more than made up for it by voting for Trump in 2024. But there was this emptiness that I felt. And I remember when people I had known, even back then, were like, well, you deserved it. You deserve to have your account taken. You deserve to be silenced because trans people are sacred, and you you deserved it. And maybe you should think better about them. So it's like you've held these people in such high regard, and now they've become your foot soldiers. It's like so the point I'm trying to make is, if you are one of these people who are openly celebrating the shedding of innocent blood, you're not a good person.
There's no place for you in society. You don't belong in this country.
I'm not going to sit here and say that you aren't worthy of earning a living, because I believe everyone should work, but I don't want to work anywhere around you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, what Charlie's assassination taught me, and the reaction around it taught me, is that if it had been any one of us who got their throat torn out like Charlie did, they'd have celebrated it all the same.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They'd have celebrated that.
100%, man.
And we saw glimpses of this again. I talked about this before. We saw glimpses of that when Trump when in Butler, Pennsylvania last year.
People were saying, "Why didn't you miss? Next time, don't miss." Yeah,
that was all over the internet.
Even celebrities, I think, were saying that. Like
celebrities, like all of
I know
this.
dude from Tenacious D made a joke like that, and I'm a Tenacious D fan. But Kyle Gass made a "please don't miss next time" or something on stage.
Yeah.
And I think they got their tour canceled, and it's like, you know,
Good.
I love Tenacious D, but it's like, what are you doing, guys? Like this is a human being. This is a political leader for like half the country, more than half the country, it looks like, because he got voted in. You want him to just die? What about saving democracy? Is this democracy? You just kill your political opponents? That's democracy? These are the hashtag saving democracy people.
Yeah, we kind of going back to what Josie said, you know, she brought up that famous John Adams quote that the Constitution is made for a moral and religious people. You know, that's part of the battle, is that if we want to remain a constitutional republic that works, we have to get back to being a moral and religious people, and part of that is kind of enforcing moral and religious norms. I mean, like there's no place for you in polite society if you celebrate someone's death, like an innocent person's death like that. And you know, I think we're still working that out, how that looks, how we enforce these things. But there's a sense to where, you know, okay, government can't come after you for speech like that, but we have to be able to police ourselves. You know, that kind of behavior towards another human being cannot be acceptable in any context.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if people would like, you know, like we said before, like if you worked with somebody who's celebrating the death of a family man who's actually pretty moderate, who actually was platforming leftists for hours every university he went to, and his big platform, like if anything, he was helping them, you know, at least helping them get their ideas out and their arguments out. I'm not sure if he was helping them because he, you know, destroy their ideas, but which are easy to destroy, to be fair. But he was giving them a chance. I mean, that's pretty not fascist of him. You know, but the funny thing is, it's like this is the way that the left has looked at working with conservatives for so many years. I think is that I don't, you know, that's why you can't wear a MAGA hat to work or something like that, because they look at you as you're a Nazi and they're like, well, I don't feel safe around that person. I don't feel safe around this racist, white supremacist, you know, whatever, all that bullshit that they say about anybody who supports Trump or something like that. And it's just like, that's their excuse for it. But, you know, but the fact is, like, they're the ones that are super bloodthirsty. It seems like, you know, over people who definitely don't deserve the title of a fascist, like Charlie Kirk, like not even close. You know, he was a good dude.
These people literally
He's a
call
model dude.
anyone.
Yeah.
These people literally call anything or anyone who disagrees with them a fascist.
Yeah.
They have spammed the term to where it's absolutely meaningless. Like,
and we're living in different realities too. You know, like what I hear all the time from these people who celebrated his death, what, you know, is they'll pull up 2 or 3 quotes that are taken out of context, twisted to mean something completely different than what Charlie was actually saying. And that's what they base it on. That's how they justify their celebration of this guy's death. And so not only are they doing something horrific, even if Charlie was saying something repugnant, the fact that they're doing it based on a total lie. I mean, everyone's we really are 2 different people who are operating off of 2 different sets of facts, living in 2 different realities. And the beautiful thing about what Charlie did is he was trying to bridge that gap between the 2 realities. He was trying to let people see both sides so they can make their own decisions. And I have to think, you know, a big reaction to him after this whole thing was that, you know, okay, we tried the nice way, we tried the discussion, and you killed him, and now it's time for, like, you know, now it's time to bring down the hammer kind of thing. And I tend to disagree with that, because I think Charlie was winning. He flipped the youth vote like almost single-handedly, and
Yes,
he did it through conversation. And so if we want to keep winning elections, winning the culture, flipping votes in deep blue districts, I think Charlie gave us the recipe. He gave us the way forward. We got to do it through dialogue and debate. We can't give up on that, as hard as it might be, and as repulsed as we might be by some of these people who just like, where's your humanity? Like, are these people, have these people just left humanity behind? So like that's like the one thing that you know, I think about the Gospels where you know, the Bible talks about how Jesus he was always being followed by people with sicknesses and ailments and possessed by demons and wanting food and like wanting him to perform miracles and signs. He just was always hemmed in by a crowd. And one thing that it will always say about Jesus was when he saw the crowds, he was moved with compassion for them. And I think the Greek word, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, it's like splagishiznomai or something like that. And it kind of evokes this idea of being stabbed in the gut. It's the same root word as gut. And I think we have to, even when we're outraged and horrified by some of these people, I think we have to at the same time kind of like collect our breath, look at them the way Jesus did, with compassion, as people who have been deceived by the enemy, you know, deceived by Satan, who is the great deceiver. And we are meant to be, we are put on this earth to be ministers of reconciliation, to bring the light of truth and goodness. And no one is beyond redemption. No one is beyond saving, as far gone as they might seem. As long as there's life, there's hope, and we need to treat people like that.
No, you're right, Joy.
Unless they're a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Unless they're Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
But you're I mean, you're absolutely right about that, Joel. I'll say this, like, you know, as disgusted, and I really was really disgusted. I was really depressed and even, you know, a little scared, even like after what happened with Charlie Kirk. I'm like, oh, that could be me one day. That could be Isaiah. That could be a lot of our friends. You know, maybe this is like a movement where they just unhinged people just start going around killing their local conservative speaker or something. But you know, as disgusted as I was with all that, there is a lot of good people who celebrated his death because they like you said, they are in a completely different bubble of information. So they've been going through years of Trump bad for 8 years, right? 10 years. Trump is, you know, he's going in the houses of immigrants and pulling families apart. How could he do this? He's taking citizens and like all of these different things, like falsehoods or exaggerations, or like one time something happened and then they act like it happens all the time, kind of thing, over and over again with Trump. And he's a sexual assault, did this, did that, you know, that you name it, the whole thing, right? And they look at us who would support him and be like, oh my God, these people are so terrible. And then they see a couple quotes from Charlie Kirk, how he is against DEI, so he must be a racist. He is against, he won't allow his daughter to have an abortion. So, oh my God, he's like, it's like, I don't know, The Handmaid's Tale or some shit. Whatever they would want to say with that. Like, I don't know. Like, but you know, it's always the worst thing. Oh, he thinks black women don't have enough brain power, when he's really just talking about Michelle Obama and Ketanji Jackson Brown, which is true, and Kamala Harris, which is fucking true, because they're both morons. So at least the last two, complete morons. So that's all they have is 10 years of Trump and Nazi, and us supporting him, and then Mr. megaphone of the Nazis, Charlie Kirk, who hates black women and DEI and stuff. So you could see, if you're in that moral matrix, how like if somebody like that got killed, you're like, you know what? Good. That guy's just spreading hatred. Like, you know, you could see how you could be that way if you're in that world. Yeah. And if you just actually saw everything that we saw, all the facts about this stuff that we saw and everything we know, because they don't know, dude, they're not taught. The news does not talk about what Democrats do and the left does, like at all. Like in CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, like they barely talk about any of it. I see it all the time. And or they lie about it. I see it all the time because I watch them. So they're just constantly getting negative for 10 years. And very little about what you hear nothing about what they do with kids, indoctrination, gender indoctrination with kids. You have nothing about that on MSNBC or CNN ever. How they're teaching younger and younger kids, trying to get them to take sterilized, puberty blockers, the breasts getting cut and stuff. They seem to think like, oh, it just happens when you're 25 and you just decide you want to do that, and that you're basically a gay person. It's like, no, they're teaching like kindergartners this shit, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They
Now,
don't get
there
they
is
don't get
one
any wind of
person-
it. They have no idea. I talked to them. Some of them have no idea that's happening. They don't want to believe it either, which is the
Don't even
really
wanna
frustrating
know.
part. They don't want to look at the facts. They don't want to believe it. I try to show them stuff. They don't want to look. They're like, oh, they get grossed out. It's like, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
There is one thing. There is one person who has been a lefty for a while. Well, I won't say a lefty, but more of like a moderate. Okay. And he's had about enough of really the Democrat shit over the last several years, all the stuff that we've talked about. Real Time's Bill Maher had a very noteworthy clip this Friday. Came across. I want to thank Nose for showing me this, but he's I think he's starting to get a little red-pilled.
To be fair, he's been doing this for a long time, Isaiah. He's still he's still a Democrat, but he does go in real hard sometimes against the left, which I love.
Very true, and he's one of few, and they hate him for it, and I think they're going to hate him even more for this clip.
The basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Actually, it makes perfect sense. And it's obvious that it does. And there's a lot of stuff like that on the left. And when conservatives see it, they say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go along with reinventing society, often pointlessly, even if we have to cancel democracy to do it. That's what they're saying. They see gender as only a construct and sex is assigned at birth, and they say, we're not doing that. Transing kids by self-diagnosis with no age limit, no parental notification, and no acknowledgement of social contagion, not doing it. Asylum now covers any reason for anyone to come to America, not doing it. Homelessness is a lifestyle. Natural immunity doesn't count anymore. Whiteness is toxic. Penises in women's prisons. Welcoming the Intifada. We're not doing it. And so, folks, if we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath, insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5. Isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say shit. Math is racist. Queers for Palestine. Looting is cool. Healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say shit. I mean, you can, but it doesn't make it true because you're not Harry Potter. Smug self-righteousness in the defense of some of the dumbest ideas to ever come down the pike is not a formula that's really working for you. Because here's one thing I can promise every liberal in this country. The Democrats can win every election from now until forever. And the people who now hold the reins of power will not give a shit and will not give it back if they think you're still nutty.
Joel, your thoughts?
Man, it's so good. That's one thing that the good people on the right and good people on the left should be able to unite around, at least if we can't agree on the truth, just the idea that there is a truth that is objective, that exists outside of us, and that we're all trying to kind of pursue together. There's no like my truth, your truth. This idea of moral relativism. I mean, that's kind of what's poisoned the left so much. I mean, this will piss some people off, but I mean, like a lot of what he was saying, I could say for the right too. I mean, the right needs to be careful, and we need to be willing to call out, you know, our crazies as well, because inevitably, the crazies end up controlling the conversation and controlling the movement if you don't speak truth to them, regardless of whether they're on the right or the left. So, I think what has happened to the left could happen to the right if good people on the right are unwilling or too afraid to stand for truth.
Yeah. I just don't understand why there is such a. I don't understand why there's such a moral cowardice, like this fear of truth. You know, I kind of attribute it to laziness. There's like a laziness and anxiety, like an anxiety in people that they've been used to living in their own moral delusions for so long, and everything has fallen apart around them, right? Like you take a look at like someone with cluster B, with like a cluster B personality disorder. Shout out to Joshua Slocum of the Disaffected podcast, our friend. We're talking about people who have essentially built an entire people like narcissistic personality disorder. People will be like people with narcissistic personality disorder invent entire worlds around them.
Yes.
And essentially work and manipulate and lie and guilt, and in some case flat out like physically abuse people to get what they want, to lock people into to use things as operations of like methods of control, places like places of or like places of dominance. And it's like, instead of fixing, and sometimes some of the things that a narcissist will do, instead of, you ever notice how a lot of these people nowadays, and they're almost always Democrats, you notice how they're always quick to do anything but what works? anything. People.
They often do the opposite of what works, sadly.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of this. We mentioned it earlier. Keir Starmer in the UK. People begging, do something about the illegals, close the border, stop the boats. And instead, here's digital ID. Like literally they did the meme, right? They did the meme where it's like, hold on, I'm trying to find that meme right now where it's like
the Pawn Stars meme, like best I can do is digital ID.
No. I'm trying to find. Hold on. No, I found it. I'm about to pull it up right now. Like, this is exactly, when you see this, dude, you're gonna know exactly where I'm coming from. They did this meme. Like, they literally created a problem. They externalized the blame. They said, yeah, it's a problem. Illegal immigration's a problem. And then here's the solution that they propose: digital ID. And what's crazy, what's even crazier is that, let me see if I have this thing where Keir Starmer was being interviewed, and I don't know if you saw this over in the UK. Like, when he first made this announcement about digital ID, he was talking real tough. Like, we're going to implement this by the end of the year. So, and then, but people started asking questions. And I think this exchange was actually, I want to get your thoughts on this, because I'm convinced the UK was supposed to be our prison colony in a Kamala Harris presidency. Let me know what you think of this.
I don't.
Oh, that is the wrong one. But that is something else I wanted to talk about. You know what? I thought I had it, and I don't.
You can find it, Isaiah. I got something to say real quick. You want to try to find it?
Yeah, I'll find it. Go ahead.
I think to answer your question too, I think Joel or comment you made before, or maybe it was Isaiah, but I think we're talking about it, of how, we're at risk on the right of being, of having the fringes take over the conversation and really drive us off a cliff with crazy ideology and stuff like that, right? Whether it's violence or going to actual something like Nazism or fascism or whatever, or monarchy or whatever the hell people are talking about. I never caught any of that. But another thing Haidt has said, Jonathan Haidt, the same social psychologist, more recently, he had an article called "The Past 10 Years of American Life Have Been Uniquely Stupid" in the Atlantic. And I think, and he said there's a reason for that. And the big part of it is, and I think he did a seminar on it too, and he mentioned this, what I'm going to say, but a big part of it is obviously social media and how I mentioned before, how the people who say the most outlandish fringe things tend to get the biggest microphones, right? The people or the people also who appeal to your baser instincts, your emotions, making you angry, making you scared, making you whatever. Not that there's necessarily that's such a bad thing to do, because sometimes you do need to be shown things if they're true. And you're like, hey, look at this. We should probably be concerned about this, huh? Like I do that all the time. And I think, I'm seeing it. Are you seeing it? Should we address this? Why are people letting this happen? Why is the government letting this happen? Right? Open borders or somebody getting released from jail 15 times until he finally kills somebody. That shouldn't be happening, right? I think everybody understands that. But what he said anyways in that is that what you're seeing is moderates on each side are being silenced by fear and intimidation, because if they stick their head out and be like, well, wait a second, guys, but this is kind of crazy, right? Bill Maher was doing, for example, then the fringes on your side will definitely try to kill you. And the fringes on the other side are definitely going to try to maybe not kill you literally, although obviously they might try to do that too, but they'll try to, they shoot, he said something like they'll shoot darts at you. So they'll say, you're not a real conservative, you're a rhino or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you're a Zionist, you love the Jews more than Christians, whatever, right? And the left does the same thing. Like if you disagree with them, it's like, well, you're a racist. I mean, what are you talking about? I'm a racist. I've been a Democrat my whole life. I'm black, well, you're clearly a racist person because you are disagreeing with the DEI is going too far. You're just a white supremacist. You have internalized white supremacy. It goes on both sides. So people just shut up. The moderates shut their mouth because they're like, I don't want to get my head chopped off. So that they let the other people yap. And that's
and in an online environment, it kind of makes you like the buzzkill too,
right.
No one wants to be the guy going up, standing up, going like, "Hey guys, you're taking things a little too far, aren't you?" It's like the Buzz Killington, extremism is way more fun. And it feels really good, and so that's the thing that a lot of people have to contend with.
And people don't like to see that their side could be wrong about anything. That's another thing.
I did find the video of Keir Starmer, by the way.
You got it? Okay.
I found it. Yeah, this guy was talking crazy about digital ID, and then as soon as he is properly interrogated, this Fabian socialist monster completely shits it.
Guy's the fucking worst, man.
One of our viewers got in touch and wanted us to ask this question. Ross Brown wanted us to ask you if you really believe that those profiting from human trafficking will think, oh dear, I have to check your digital ID now. I can't carry on paying you £1.50 an hour to work in my sweatshop.
I'm absolutely convinced that amongst the reasons that people travel through France, which is a safe country, to come to the United Kingdom, amongst the reasons is because it's easier to work in our illegal economy than it is in other countries. And we have to deal with that.
Bosses who are prepared to hire people illegally are not asking them for their national insurance card. So what's the evidence? What makes you think they're suddenly going to ask them for a digital ID?
We need to be really clear. You must have ID, mandatory digital ID in order to work, because we have to stop illegal working. If you look at any of the raids, we've massively increased the number of raids on working premises. It is absolutely clear that people are working illegally in numbers.
But why do you think that them having a
acceptable.
digital ID, having to have a digital ID, would stop that problem, when right now people are meant to have a national insurance number and card, and if they're not asked for that, a boss is willing already to break the rules? What's the difference going to be?
Well, the difference is this is on point of starting, not a retrospective exercise as it now is. It is an automatic collection of the information by the government, so we know exactly who is working in our economy, and it will help us enforce the rules that are there. But there's no point people saying to me, why do we need it, when we all acknowledge there is a problem? People are working illegally in our economy. It is amongst the reasons that people want to come to the United Kingdom. We have to deal with that.
I want to go back to that. He said something that was really, really, like, this is why narcissists don't answer questions.
It is amongst the reasons that people want people. When we all acknowledge there is a problem, people are working to enforce the rules that are there. But there's no point people saying to me, why do we need it, when we all acknowledge there is a problem?
That's the part. That right there. That right there. I don't want to answer your question. How dare you question me? This is something I find amongst people with narcissistic personality disorder. They hate answering questions. They hate it.
They resent it. Yeah.
They resent, just think like the fact that he just came out and was like, I'm not interested in hearing that when we all when we all agree that there's a problem. So here I am with a solution. Digital ID, Agenda 2030. Well, how come you filthy, you dehumanized don't want it? Joel.
Yeah, he's kind of like the final boss of this whole thing that the leftism, which is kind of an ideology of narcissism. When you think about it, it's an ideology of it goes back to Rousseau. Rousseau said that man is born free and everywhere's in chains. In other words, we're born good, we're pure, we're perfect, and it's society's fault. Anything that we do that's wrong, it's society's fault. And so, it's a worldview that kind of sets yourself up as God. It sets yourself up as the final arbiter of truth. And here you have kind of like the purest form of it in Keir Starmer. It's just like this complete, total, malignant, left-wing narcissist. I just wonder, because I don't understand these people. I wonder, what is driving him? What is his North Star? He sees his country being ravaged by Islamic invaders, his culture being destroyed, his economy being destroyed. What does that do? Nothing to him in his soul, to his conscience? Is there nothing there? Is there nothing behind those eyes? What on earth is driving? Is he like a complete captured, brainwashed cultist weirdo?
He's a Fabian socialist. Fabian socialist. That's they're amongst some of the worst of the worst, like in terms of subversion. Okay. Yeah. But he's a globalist. They
genuinely think that if we can just get everyone on the same page and have a global government and everyone on digital ID, and we can tinker with human beings like they're mice or computer chip, circuit boards, then everything will be okay. It's just
and it's exactly what they believe.
Sociopathic, insane, anti-human. It's just so incredibly dark.
Well, it's cultural suicide for one, and national suicide and I think part of it may be, I think, he's so woke. If there's no other thing that goes on, and James Lindsay talked about, I'll bring up what he said afterwards about he thinks might be going on. But if it's purely like woke indoctrination, like, again, they think that like anybody who's like not a white Christian colonial person is better. So like if we can get a bunch of brown Muslims in there, then it's better. Like it's kind of like the intersectional hierarchy of morality. Like it's really that simple and crazy, right? It's like, oh, well, at least they're not Christians, former slaveholders from 200 years ago or something like that. It's very strange. Every time you like talk about things that they're doing wrong, they always have to go back to like 100 years ago or 200 years ago about what like the UK or US did wrong or Christians did wrong in the Inquisition or something. It's like, we're talking about 2025, man. We already realized that a lot of that stuff was really wrong. So, but that's always what they do. But so what did James Lindsay said, though, if that isn't the case, and he really doesn't believe in that nonsense, he probably does partly. He thinks that, remember, he said this on our show, Isaiah, James Lindsay said on the first time he came on, he said that he thinks it might be a power play where the Fabian Society socialists in power, the far left, or whoever it's in power in the UK, will let it get. So there's so many people, so many like, outsiders, whether it's like, Muslims, Arab Muslims, Africans, or whatever, that are trying to like destroy things and commit so much crime. And there's like cultural, ethnic clashes and stuff like that, that then they could use that power to, make the power of the government even more powerful, and then come down with like the digital ID, stuff like that, and then they could say, well, we have to, because it's just gotten too far, and now we have to take this power, kind of like V for Vendetta. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but like where there's like a danger that's out there, and now we have to have more extreme government whatever, because
V for Vendetta was like one of the greatest pieces of leftist projection ever seen in fiction.
It's a great movie too.
It was leftist, like basically confessing everything that they do and just assigning it to right wingers in the story.
Especially later on, because like that was an older movie too. I mean, that was like what, early 2000s maybe it came out, something like that. But they basically did that during COVID.
Wasn't that one of the Wachowski movies? That was one of the Wachowski brothers, right?
I don't know.
That was after the Matrix movies. That was their next one after the Matrix trilogy. So they were probably like they were down the road of being like porn addled, like kind of transgender brain crazies. So that was probably affecting their judgment a little bit.
No, I thought it was always a powerful movie, but you're right. I mean, the left, they were talking about like this, of course, this fantasy, this fascist fantasy that you see, like which obviously has happened before, but they've been just constantly saying anybody on the right's a fascist. And then they basically did it themselves when they were in power, especially during COVID, right? Like that's basically a lot of what happened in that movie was what they did.
And not only that, but like all the stuff that they say they fear, like the patriarchy, repression of women, the Handmaid's Tale, fascism. Like, look at any majority Muslim country. This is what you're importing. You're importing the Handmaid's Tale.
It's crazy.
You're importing. Well, really, you're importing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. But I find that crazy. Like it's like V for Vendetta and a lot of these other movies is like, okay, here's what we did. Guess what? We're doing all of this, like, because I think that like elements of V for Vendetta reminded me of 1984.
Yeah.
It was like basically
it was
1984, and then they just turned around and went, "Y'all did it.
Mm-hmm.
You did it." You know what I'm saying? Like it just the like you said, like these works of projection. It's insane. It really is.
We see that a lot in general from the left. I mean, they're constantly projecting what they're doing on the right. Constantly.
One other thing I do want to talk about this, because coming back to our shores, we got to talk about what's important here. I think the walls are closing in on the deep state. I think we're in the death throes. And one of them, one of the greatest pieces of evidence, I mean, obviously, Stephen Miller talking tough and getting singled out as a quote unquote fascist, was John Brennan. This thing on MSNBC, they got a clip of him with Jordan Peele. I mean, whoever Boy Reed, whoever this dude is, like the guy looks like Lionel Richie. I don't know his name.
Does he have Jerry curls? Is that the guy?
I think so, but John Brennan is on here, and it's the most. It's oh god, I you know what?
MSNBC is a literal clown show, man.
There you go. He's talking about talking about the case that's being brought against him. Okay, watch.
You know, I don't see any case against me. I have looked back on all of my actions and decisions, and with John Durham, the special counsel, and others that have looked at what we did, it was certainly consistent with our legal authorities and with the law. So I don't know what, they're referring to there. Individuals who used to work in the government, even if their security clearances were revoked, they could be subpoenaed. They could be, called to provide testimony in support of whatever allegations they have. I don't see a case there.
I don't see a case against me.
Well, that settles it. That's, I guess.
I mean, let's
see here.
I'm gonna use that defense too, man. We're gonna get in trouble. Don't see a case. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm innocent.
I don't see anything wrong with me. I'm perfect. It's not.
I don't know.
Everyone else's.
This is. I mean, it's exciting to see. But do you think anything's going to come of it? Like, I'm almost in kind of like the nothing ever happens crowd. Like, okay, here we go. It's going to be a circus for a little bit. Nothing will happen. None of these guys will go to jail. What do you think?
If that happens, I am not one of these who believes that. Let me put it this way. If they weren't so afraid that something was going to happen, and then this was just another, like more of that revolving door, bread and circus that they give for those of us who are like tragically online, they wouldn't have tried to kill Trump last year.
That's a good point. Yeah,
they wouldn't have tried to kill this guy last year.
They were fighting for their lives.
Exactly. They wouldn't have tried to assassinate Trump twice in less than a month.
Yep.
And like I keep going back to that because it's like these guys these people were literally going to smash his head like a pumpkin on national television in Butler, Pennsylvania. And he turned his head and he missed. So in that, I don't think I don't think this is just the typical dog and pony show. Again, like this has been Trump this entire time, and I realize that now. Joe Biden, by the way, I say this, but Joe Biden cured me of my Trump derangement syndrome. Abby Gate cured me of my Trump derangement syndrome. So I see things a lot more. I see things a lot clearer than I did before. This has been basically the entire hallmark. Trump was and is an outsider. He was around those crowds. He knew a lot of these people. He probably rented and or sold property to these people, but he was never in that crowd. He's always been an outsider. He was a political outsider. Like being president was his one and only job in public office, as opposed to these swamp creatures down in DC who basically like they live and breathe the government, and they've been a bureaucrat for 25, 30 years. Mitch McConnell can barely fucking walk, and he has strokes on live television. No one calls them that, but that's what it is when he just freezes up like that. Has strokes mid-sentence. And he's been a senator for how long? Almost 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so my point is, and I know I kind of went all over the place. My point is this: if they weren't worried about their jobs, if they weren't worried about their freedom, they wouldn't have tried to kill Trump. They wouldn't have, and they wouldn't go on MSNBC like that saying, I don't see a case against me. What? Nah,
that's
man,
a funny clip.
Happen.
That's a really funny clip.
Something's gonna happen, but I don't think it's like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it's gonna happen. I think it'll happen maybe next year. Let's be clear. There's been so much going on within the last, what are we in? Almost in October. It's almost 10 months. There was so much going on. I think this is something for 2026.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that something's going to actually happen from this. Besides, these guys are going to get hassled for a while and have to have the annoyance of being in court and everything and tried, and that might be as simple. It might be all Trump really wants out of it. He might just want to get some revenge.
Yeah,
which I understand because they seemed like they did the same thing to him. So he just might be like, hey, how do you guys like it? And I'm not against that because I think there should be some karma, especially if they're trying to be dishonest about it, what they're doing to just try to ruin, sabotage his presidency or try to get him in trouble or ruin his reputation. It's like, you should be caught out for that as well. But I don't know if there's any I don't know if there's any real legal consequences that are going to come, like they're going to see time or anything. I doubt it because it's political stuff. It seems like politicians usually get off of this for this stuff, man.
Well, I think the most important action, beyond, I'd love to see some of these people in jail,
sure,
for sure, and some actual consequences. But I think the most important action that needs to be taken is like the dismantlement operation. That a lot of the positions that these guys once occupied need to be just eliminated. Like we need to make it so that no one can ever build a deep state again. That's one thing that I wish Trump was a little more aggressive on. It seemed like we were aggressive for like 2 or 3 weeks with Doge when Elon was just feeding the entire government into the wood chipper, and it was awesome. But I would love to see more action on that. For example, the Department of Education. Why hasn't that building been torn to the ground? It should just be torn down. I want it raised. I want it on video, like a live feed. We can all watch the Department of Education just being destroyed. The Federal Reserve, all these other like swamp. How many hundreds of agencies are there? Like, get rid of them. We need to make it so that all these lizard people that just slither through the government and pull strings never have an opportunity to do this again.
Yeah,
destroy the infrastructure that propped them up.
As I was saying before, I agree. I think if there's any laws that could be made, and I think we have laws on the books, anyways, like the Civil Rights Act and stuff with. And I guess the Supreme Court did just rule on that as far as like you shouldn't be discriminating against like Asian people or white people or Jewish people or whatever. I think there's been something that just happened with that, but it's like, how was that even allowed in the first place? I think that's got to go so that you can just like at least do something that legally makes like being like woke basically, illegal in a way, or at least in you could be woke, but in institutions, as far as like you're making policies, you're teaching entire majors where woke far left ideologies encroaches on all of the courses, all of them, where it's constantly, you got to think about like this racial disparities in every single course. It's like, oh my God, it's enough, man. And how we all live in a white supremacist society, and how we took over the indigenous lands and all this nonsense, like in everything. It's just like it's so subversive. It makes people hate their country. It paints the entire country's history as a super negative thing, which it's definitely not.
Communist moralization up is what it is.
Yeah. So anything that could make that kind of stuff illegal, I think would be good, because I think it should be illegal. Just like I think it should be illegal, like, especially when we're federally funded. If you want to make a private school that's like teaching your kids to be I guess a Marxist revolutionary. Okay. But like there should be no federal funding for that, no tax dollars whatsoever. And you'll see how that goes, man. But, just like, just shouldn't be in Nazis, like Nazi majors, and, like they shouldn't be teaching, they shouldn't be promoting that. You could teach a history of it maybe, but they literally promote it. So that's how it's gotta go.
I went to a national park a few weeks ago in Florida, Fort Pickens. It's an amazing, place, and it basically it's a massive fort that they built after the War of 1812 because they wanted to guard southern shores in case the British tried to come back a third time, I guess. But it's an amazing feat of engineering, and it's a really cool place to visit. So me and my family, we toured it, and we spent some time there. Went to the bookstore after we went on the tour, and it's just a weird little anecdote. I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this at a national park, but we're at a military site from the 19th century. A lot of cool history there. Over half of the books in the bookstore were about Juneteenth, diversity, Martin Luther King, civil rights, slavery, more slavery, racism, segregation. And this is at Fort Pickens. It's like, I can see if it's pertinent to the site that you're at historically, but none of these books had anything to do with Fort Pickens, and it was so obviously shoehorned in with an agenda behind it, and that's federal funded. I mean, this is something that our federal dollars are actually going towards this, and that seems to be that's low hanging fruit. Like, that needs to be undone tomorrow. And we
I agree.
Smithsonian Institute, remember that the whiteness culture thing, pamphlets they put out and everything. It's like,
it's everywhere.
It's super racist too. Super racist against other people of other races too, like like black and brown, Middle Eastern, Asian people, saying that like being on time for work and being industrious is a white.
That's so terrible.
That's so messed up.
White people invented that. Really? Okay.
As the resident, listen, as the brother here, okay, I can't tell you how disturbed I was by that white supremacy culture graphic. I was disgusted by it. Loving the written word, being on time for work. I mean, y'all was really out here saying that basically, if you're black, you don't read. If you're black, you're late. You come like it should just be expected that black folk don't show up to work on time, are illiterate, can't do anything, and it's wrong for you as a white person to have a problem with it, or when other black people, will say that we have a problem with it, then we're Uncle Toms, we're coons, we got, we participate in white supremacy culture. What's the other one they like to say? Oh, your respectability won't save you and all this other foolishness. It's like, you know what? Y'all just need to go away. And to Trump's credit, he's gotten rid of a lot of that. He went after the Smithsonian very hard over the summer. I will give him credit. He went hard on them.
Dude, I'm reading this right now. They said one of the things they said was aesthetics. They said in this, I don't remember seeing this before. Steak and potatoes, quote unquote, bland is best.
The fuck?
Look it up, Isaiah. Look this shit up. Yeah. Like that's
white culture.
Yeah.
Wait.
Let me share this link.
Put it in private chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat, right? Because this is bananas.
Now I'm offended.
Yeah, it's exactly. Let me put this in this chat.
My god, you're serious?
I'm gonna put it in the public chat so everybody else can look at it too. Actually,
okay.
Apostate Radio. So you click on that.
I'm so sick. I'm so sick of the racial division. I'm so sick of it, and it just gets crammed down our throats constantly. It's so wicked. It's just like. It's so wicked.
I'm seeing under justice, it says bullet protecting property and entitlements. Intent. One of the bullets is intent counts. So I guess in other cultures, intent doesn't matter. If you accidentally kill somebody, it's the same as wanting to kill them. I guess we're the first white people, the first people to ever think of that.
Hard work ethic. Drop it in the private chat, or did you already? You didn't.
Hard work is key. Did you see it, or did you?
I see it in the public chat.
Does that not work? Let me.
It don't work in the. It doesn't.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Let me do it now. Yeah, that's all right. Let's bring this up, dude. This is absolutely abysmal. So racist. It's so racist, man.
All right, so here we go.
The nuclear family, father, mother, 2 to 3 children is ideal social unit.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Here we go. Yeah.
Oh
Look
my
at this
gosh.
shit. Look at this. The rugged individualism. The individual is the primary. Yeah, this is white supremacy culture. The individual is the primary unit. Self-reliance. Yeah, because you actually throw off white supremacy by being reliant upon the fucking government for everything. Independence and autonomy, highly valued and rewarded. So you know what? It's such a good thing we're revisiting this. Independence and autonomy, highly valued and rewarded. That's white supremacy culture.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But so that right there is how they excuse what's happening here in New York City and other places throughout the country, which is the war on private ownership of vehicles. They want everybody riding around in Ubers, or they want everybody riding the train, or they don't want you to have anything.
This is so silly, man.
Private ownership of vehicles is whiteness. That's
yes.
Property, again, because private property. When they say whiteness, they don't. When these people say whiteness, they are talking about regular society.
They're talking about Western Christian society is what they're doing.
Exactly. They're talking about Western society.
And that's their enemy number one. But this was their trick. This was the game that they played. I remember James Lindsay a few years ago kind of said, "Hey, I want everyone give me your definition of wokeness. Do your best to kind of define it succinctly. I want to hear what you have to say." My definition was something along the lines of it is the left's attempt to leverage America's hatred of racism, which is deeply ingrained in our culture. You know, like our culture dislikes racism. It's to leverage that into a hatred of capitalism, Christianity, and Western civilization.
That's exactly what they
did. If you can take those good things and just call it whiteness, then you can oppose these good things under the guise of anti-racism, instead of just being honest about what you're doing, which is trying to tear down the West.
Yes, that's right. That's 100%. Yeah. Like if you look at this, this is from the Smithsonian again, guys. I mean, it says that future orientation, plan for the future is a whiteness thing. On the second one, planning for the future, delayed gratification. Only white people do that, I guess. Everybody else is just constantly being hedonistic and bullshitting around their entire lives, while white people are the only ones working. That's what the Smithsonian's trying to tell us right here. Tomorrow will be better. I guess, is that a bad thing? I don't know, to be optimistic.
Well, hold on a second. When your brains are fried from all this information coming in, think of how the left, think of how the mainstream media is completely panic oriented these days. No good news, nothing uplifting, just beating. Think of cable news, where every other day these people are beat to death over their heads about what Trump did, who in Trump's cabinet did this, how we're our democracy, all of this stuff that's designed to scare the shit out of their viewers, to induce mental illness. Really, it's done to induce mental illness in their viewers. So think of it. When you look at something like this, delayed gratification, do you need to buy that today? Progress, like tomorrow will be better. These people are freaked out.
See, under aesthetics, guys.
They don't think
planned is best. That's right.
Going to be it tomorrow. Trump is a threat to our democracy. We might not live to see tomorrow. That's how these people think. And what's crazy about this is that a white woman wrote that.
Yeah. No, yes.
A white woman wrote that. A white leftist woman wrote that whole thing. And
why is it always the white liberal women?
It is,
bro.
It is.
It always comes back to a white leftist woman.
No, it does. Sadly,
I have never in my life. And that was, and if I remember the story correctly, that was never displayed at the Smithsonian. It was never on display. It was like, it was something that was that it was like a graphic that was created, but it didn't actually make it to, they didn't publish it. Like, they didn't put it out on the floor.
They must have put it somewhere. It's definitely on their social media. I think they must have put it out on their social media.
It was on their social media, and
they
like,
must have put it somewhere. Yeah.
But think about it.
Or some kind of brochure or something maybe they made.
I'm gonna say it like this. Because that graphic was supposed to go into the African American Museum, the big NMAAC, right?
I see.
Oh, that big ugly building in the National Mall.
The one that like well, I still have not been there. I have not been to I call it the Black Museum. I haven't been there yet.
Museum.
But just imagine you put a sign in there that says it's white supremacy culture to expect Black folks should not be expected to come to work on time. You put that in the middle. You put go ahead and put that shit on the floor of that of that museum. You got all them Black folk shuffling in there, all them Black people coming in from all over the country, all over the world, and they see that it's like white people are like, it is white supremacy to expect you to be to work on time. Again, like they're being racist right in the. But then again, this is a state, this, because for some odd reason, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit after, like once we're done here. Black people have this blind spot when it comes to racism from the white people who they vote next to. Black folk been pro-Democrat for longer than I've been alive. I'm 43. Black folk been voting in the 90th percentile for Democrats for like 60, 70 years. But when a white leftist says something that's so, here's the example. The governor of my state, Joel, I don't know if you know this, but last year, Kathy Hochul, the governor of the state of New York, said that Black and Latino kids in the South Bronx don't even know what a computer is.
The Babylon Bee had some fun with that one.
Yo,
I think I've seen that too. I think I see what you're throwing us, but I remember that
because y'all on top of that. But bro, like, but Black people will see that, will hear that coming from the side that they've been voting for years, and then turn around and keep voting for them. I've never understood it, and like I said, I'm gonna talk.
I think a lot of it comes from the churches. I think, there's a lot of the Black churches. It seems to me are not run by pastors. They're run by like arms of the DNC.
Yeah,
who are kind of
Jamal
like
Bryant.
And they've kind of formed this kind of false religion around Democrat politics.
What do they call it, Isaiah? Is it liberation theology or something?
Liberation theology.
Yeah. I think James Lindsay talked about that in some certain things. Yeah.
Liberation theology, prosperity gospel. Like there's a lot of that.
It's like far left theology.
Like very leftist. Like Joel Osteen is part of that whole thing as well.
A lot of Black churches, I think.
Yeah. But if you go to, like, there's a method, like a UMC church that I've been to a couple of times here in New York, and like we're getting sermons from the pastor there, like this interim pastor, and she up there talking about Palestine and Gaza and all this type of shit.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hold on a second. Like, my wife, shout out to my wife who was there, and she was like, look, you can talk about Gaza all you want, but y'all so busy to talking about Gaza, a country that's thousands of miles away. When you got a Gaza right here in your backyard, you don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is the Black church. And I know we going all over us. The Black church really, really is these days, like you said, arms of the DNC. Jamal Bryant, Reverend Jamal Bryant, down in Atlanta, Georgia, where it seems like that man has preached more communism from the pulpit than any other black pastor that I've ever seen. But it's Vody Bauscham that ends up that dies of a heart attack or whatever health emergency he had last week.
Oh, Vody, I'm gonna miss Vody. That's really it. And that's what I know. I'm a Christian. I'm always going to give the Sunday school answer, but it's so true. Like the answer to so much of this is like we need to go back to the Bible and the truth of the Bible. I mean, and it's a problem in white churches and mainline denomination churches and Catholic churches too. Like anywhere, any church where you see people kind of depart from just the core of Scripture, and pastors start to get up there and they leftist politics start to seep in. The people follow suit. Pastors are very important in this whole cultural fight that we're in. Good pastors need to be more outspoken, and bad pastors need to be corrected with the truth.
Did you know Vody?
Not personally. No, I actually. We had booked him for a conference that I had organized for the spring. So that was going to be my first meeting with him. I listened to a lot of his sermons and I loved his book. Fault Lines was amazing, and it's a huge loss. A lot of big losses this year for American Christianity.
Yeah.
Joel, do you know who the is there any Christian churches that have kind of mostly or avoided it more than other churches, like this, the leftist creep? I know the Catholics just had a leftist pope. Really, hopefully they're moving back towards the right now. But is there any churches that are known to be a little bit more conservative? Because I've been thinking about joining another church.
Yeah, the largest Protestant denomination in the country that has been the biggest bulwark against leftist creep has been, up to this point, the Southern Baptist Convention. Now, there has been some leftism that's creeped in, and that's a battle that they're still fighting. You see it vocally on Twitter, but they have still, like, if you break down like the voter base of the country, the most reliable conservative voters are like American evangelical Southern Baptists.
Okay.
I don't belong to a Southern Baptist church. I do go to a Baptist church. But it just depends. I mean, you usually can't tell from the church's website if it's gone woke or not. I suggest
a lot of times you can tell by the church itself. When you drive by it, you'll see like a big trans pride flag on it or something.
Stay away from those. But if
man.
if you want to know, I recommend looking at archives of their sermons from like 2020, 2021.
Right, that's good.
If they did the whole BLM thing, then you should probably stay away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Joel, it's been man, I want to first thank you for being with us tonight.
Yeah.
This has been an eye-opening conversation. You're a cool dude, bro. Like I'm like, you are a chill dude. Like I really appreciate you coming on to the show and and talking with us. It's a bit like this show has really, I've been talking about this a lot but like this show has expanded my thinking in ways that and really expanded like the amount of people who I've been able to talk, who I've been able to talk to. And it's humbling. It really is, because like to meet guys like you, to meet one half of the Babylon Bee. You know what I mean? Like one half of the founders of the Babylon Bee. It's like I never in my life thought I would be like when I never thought I'd be doing this. I never thought I would meet the people that I have doing this. And I really, really thank you for coming on. And
Thanks,
brother,
man.
you come back. You can come back anytime you want.
I was thinking we might want to get Joel if you'd be down. We should get him and James Lindsay on together one day. We can talk about woke right if you want at some point, or
my God,
a couple months from now or whenever whenever you have
That'd
free
be
time.
fun. That would be therapy for me, because
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah, we should
I
put
just need
something
to
on
get
the
all that
calendar.
off my chest. But man, Isaiah, I love the show and I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope it continues to grow and expand, and that you find more success, because it's really there are a lot of voices on the right, but true, sincere, honest voices who with men of integrity are rare, and you're one of those. So
thank you, brother.
It's good to have an ally, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Yo, where can people find you? And what are you working on?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitter. It's at Joel W. Berry is my handle. The bees, bees still going strong. We're releasing a new little feature for our subscribers. So we're subscriber supported fully. You get a bunch of extra perks, but the one that we just added is a little streaming service. We're calling it B-. And so we have a lot of like exclusive like web series and a few movies on there and documentaries, a lot of fun comedy. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to the B. You get a lot of cool new content that we've been working on for the last couple of years. And I just want to encourage everyone, keep fighting wherever God has placed you, keep speaking truth, because it's never been more important. The battle's not over. America's still going.
Amen.
I'm a big fan of the B, man. I've been for a while. You guys really kill it with the satire. I mean, I share so many of your headlines across like social media, especially like on like Instagram or Facebook and stuff, where like people that I know who are Democrats and stuff, as I want them to see it. Isaiah, I'm going to send you a link to this one. We should share this after, but when we end the show, we should put the Satan asks Democrats to tone down all the evil. Did you ever see that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's a sketch. It's like a 5-minute sketch. It is too good, man. It's like Satan sitting at a table with like all these different like stereotypical Democrats, and they're like, and he's just like, you guys are being a little, basically, you guys are being a little bit too obviously evil. We got to tone it down a little.
Oh shoot!
That's our actor Jarrett Lemaster. He plays Satan in all our sketches, and he also plays Jesus in all our sketches. So he has range. He has good range as an actor.
The duality of man, right?
Right.
Joel, thank you again, brother, for coming on with us, man. We greatly apprate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, thanks a lot, Joel. Appreciate it.
Have a great night, man. Thank you. Yo, that was great.
Yeah, man.
That was great, bro. I talk about this a lot, but like, this is what a ride, man. Like, this is great stuff. I mean,
I thought we had a good conversation, man, for sure.
Yeah, like
with everybody, Josie and Joel.
Man, Josie, I want to have Josie back.
I do too.
I really do. I'm gonna push pretty hard to get Josie back on. I want to have her on for a full show if we can.
Yeah, we should,
because I really want to. Like, history used to be my favorite subject in school.
I love history,
and I feel like with all of this stuff that's been happening and all of these ways in which we've been pulled, we don't get a chance to just sit back and be like, you know what? We need to look at how we got to this point.
Yes. And also, like, people, they're constantly saying, the Democrats especially, I mean, everybody does, but the Democrats especially are saying, like, the founders this, the founders believe that, and a lot of stuff they're saying really isn't that accurate. And I actually do know a lot about that era as well. I've read several books on the revolution. I was a big Hamilton fan way before the what do they call it? The play came out. Like, I was a Hamilton fan in high school, like back in the millennium, turn of millennium. And so I read 2 biographies of Alexander Hamilton. I read John Adams' biography. which they based the show on. I read this book called Founding Brothers, which is a really good book about the founding fathers. I think there's some other book I'm forgetting too, but I love that era as well. So I did want to talk to her more about that, to Josie. But yeah, it's great to know the foundation, because I think we do need to stick to it. We got to stick to the founders had the right idea, man. I mean, and it's worked so far, you know, and it's worked against great odds and against people who, you know, on both parties are probably who messed up and pushed boundaries too much and tried to take too much power, did, like, on both sides. And it still has been able to keep things together, the U.S. Constitution, and we need to stick to the U.S. Constitution and to those founding values, and indeed to the moral foundation, and it is a Christian nation deep down, like that is where we get most of our morality, Judeo-Christian values from the Bible, from hundreds of years, almost 2,000 years of what do you call it, a civilization that was founded on biblical values, and before that, like Greco-Roman values and stuff like that as well, philosophy and democracy and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's all meshed together. That's the West, and we do not just toss that out of the fucking the baby with the baby with the bathwater like that. We can't just toss it away and be like, all right, we're just going to start everything from scratch, and it's going to be based on woke ideals. It doesn't work, man. It does not work. It does not interface with human behavior. These people don't know psychology. They don't know human psychology. Don't even know sociology, and they claim to be the masters of that. They're way off.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I like this country.
I love it.
It's not a matter of, well, I love this country.
A lot of things I'm annoyed at and worried about, but the country itself, you know.
But overall, I love this country. I love the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
I love this country. I know that people love to talk about the imperfections. People love to talk about, you know, the fact, like, it annoys the shit out of me when I hear people talk about, well, this country wasn't perfect, and they want people to stay bugged out about things that happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and things that Black people or people of the, you know, or whatever color,
indigenous people, yeah.
you know,
lacks historical
y'all want me like y'all want everybody to get bugged out and complaining about things that happened decades and centuries ago, instead of realizing just how blessed we are to live in a country such as the United States of America. Even these fucking fascists, that are out here protesting, well, these Antifa assholes that are out here, you know, trying to square up against the federal government. They're squaring up with ICE and putting places like Portland and Chicago and all those places, right? The fact that you are even out there to contend with these people every single night is a blessing and a testament to just how free this country is. Because if this was Tiananmen Square,
right?
If this was Tiananmen Square, if you were squaring up against a communist government, a government where you did not own property, again, the fact that you are free to be a socialist piece of garbage in this country without any pushback, without being locked up for just your beliefs, is a testament to how free this country is.
It drives me nuts how they say how, you know, Trump and conservative Republicans are in this country is fascist. It's like, how could it be fascist if Jimmy Kimmel just got canceled for 3 days and then he's came back? If, like, you know, Trump doesn't like Jimmy Kimmel, of course
3
not.
fucking days and he comes back and he's like,
if he was fascist, Jimmy Kimmel would be in prison right now and maybe killed. That's fascism. That's what happens in fascism. That's what happens in communism.
Exactly.
That's what happens in socialism. They don't let you just sit there and talk shit for 8 years on TV. That's not how it works, man.
Been around a lot longer than that.
Only people on TV are people who agree with you. If you're a fascist,
like they put
otherwise you're off TV. You're done.
They put Jimmy Kimmel. They hung him on he hung himself on a cross.
He was lying. He lied.
And he lied
about somebody.
He lied.
Somebody just got killed in front of his kids. He's lied like a couple days later.
Exactly.
People get fired for much less than that. And he loses $20 million a year or something. Anyways,
$20 million a year.
Have a job.
That's the service, but that's the service he pays for being a mouthpiece for Democrats. I wrote something a few days ago.
It's like welfare, man.
Yeah, well,
it's
to
entitled.
a certain extent.
It's like an entitlement. It's like he shouldn't even be on TV
It's
at
more
all.
than that. It's more. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. But here's what it is.
It's on merits. Yeah.
But here's what it is. And I think this is why it's crazy we're talking about this. The reason why the late night TV shows are so important to the left are because they are the last word of the day in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. They've been doing this shit since The Daily Show. And I'm not talking Jon Stewart. I'm talking Craig Kilborn before him. Okay. They've been doing essentially the Daily Show model is what they've taken to all the other mainstream TV shows. The mainstream late night comedy, the late night shows. And every single late night TV host who's employed right now, I don't care, Jimmy Fallon, that Seth Meyers creep, all of them, they are all mouthpieces for the Democrat Party.
Even even Bill Maher to an extent, even though Bill Maher's got integrity.
No, Bill Maher,
but he's still leaning. He's still leaning left, right? But I don't. No, let me be careful. Let me just be clear because I don't put him on the same category. I have a lot of respect for Bill Maher, but he does still, like, to your point. I'm saying almost everybody on TV, late night TV, John Oliver when he's on, he's
oh
terrible.
my God, he's one of the worst.
Terrible. But you name it, everybody on TV besides Fox News is fucking is leaning left or left.
Is a leftist.
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
But again,
which is crazy.
And
like,
this
is
is
too much. That's too much.
And this is something I wanted to talk to Joel about, because what the Babylon Bee does is they do provide an alternative. That's the biggest. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now is that there are no alternatives. There's no right-wing late night show except Gutfeld.
It's Gutfeld. That's it. Gutfeld.
And
there's podcasts.
Right. And there's podcasts, right? Where but my
if it for independent media, it would be done. It would just be Gutfeld.
Right.
It would
Exactly.
Be Gutfeld.
It would be. But here's the but honestly, this is the thing that I'm going to give. A lot of people are like, well, you never say anything bad about conservatives. Well, I'm about to say one right now. Conservatives have been fucking cowards when it comes to creating culture. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Conservatives have been cowards at creating culture. The left would not dominate the culture nearly as much as it does right now if people on the right hadn't walked away and retreated from it. There's very little, like there's no parallel, there's nothing to parallel. I mean, Daily Wire does it to a certain extent, right? But that's after how many years of right-wing retreat, rightist retreat?
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, it's like, I remember when Dennis Miller was a thing. Like, Dennis Miller was a thing on HBO. I remember when he was on there, and like he was, he was a conservative. Now, Dennis Miller, I don't find Dennis Miller very funny, but the point was, there was a balance. There was a bit of a balance when it came to that, and that's not there anymore.
I think part of it is, look, I mean, we know, we talked about it today, is that, the left has just completely dominated culture, Hollywood, especially in music and everything. I mean, it naturally those things were naturally left leaning anyways, because artists tend to be left leaning. People higher in openness tend to be left leaning, at least when they're young, and those tend to be artists, right? Including like, you know, movie makers and actors and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it makes sense that they would be left leaning. I don't think that was ever an issue, but then it got super woke. Then it became like they were not even, it's okay to be left leaning. It's okay to be a moderate Democrat. If this was the Democrats from 10, 15 years ago. Moderate Democrats now are kind of farther left. Like they're pretty progressive, far left, probably, even if they're moderates now. That's the problem. But when they were back, like Hillary or Obama back in the day, at least, or Hillary back in the day, saying, hey, we're going to send, if you're a legal immigrant, we're going to send you home and stuff like that. And you weren't considered a Nazi for that. It's like, yeah, okay, we can talk to those people when they weren't pushing gender ideology on children. It's like, yeah, we could talk. Maybe we can talk to these people, negotiate with these people. But once it gets to that point, like they've really totally off the rails. Yeah. But I think that's why it's been that way. We did have some conservative people. Like we did have like Clint Eastwood making movies. Mel Gibson, but then Mel Gibson got forced out. I know he went kind of crazy and said some anti-Semitic shit, but Vince McMahon is a conservative and stuff with the WWE. Like he was, I don't know how much he pushed. I don't think he really pushed conservative stuff too much, but he's a conservative. So like there's people out there, but it's I think we're starting to see a renaissance now. I think finally people can come out of the closet. People like Charlie Kirk that helped with that before he got killed, and maybe more so after he got killed. I think people are going to be a lot more brave coming out now. Again, the Daily Wire is smart. Daily Wire is smart for doing that, like making some movies, make some shows that for conservatives, and I'm sure they're making a lot of money off that because they've made some great documentaries and stuff recently.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. I think to your point, there's got to be more of that, and I think we're going to see more of that. We're definitely seeing we are definitely seeing conservatives dominate the new media. I think either conservative or like right leaning moderates or anti-woke Democrats, anti-woke classic liberals. That group of people I just mentioned, that whole cohort, they've been dominating the new media. And part of the reason why is because there is no home for conservatism in the old media, legacy media, besides Fox News, except for Fox News.
None whatsoever. Like and there's not even, and even in, like, I remember when I went to college. I went to college back in like 2012. From 2012 to 2014, I did 2 years at University of Baltimore, and I learned even then. I was a faithful Democrat back then. Okay, like Trump, like I was in that Obama fog, as it were. And I tried to get my break into journalism that way. It didn't work out. It didn't work out so well. I learned because I don't know if I told you this. I used to write for the UB Post, which is the University of Baltimore's student-run newspaper. And it didn't work out well because, one, I found out real quick that they wanted a certain type of black man in that, like, heading that paper, because I was the editor-in-chief of that paper for like a semester. And it was the most treacherous time I'd ever, like, I learned right then and there, like, how like conventional media can be pretty fucking cutthroat.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's where I learned that, again, they don't like, I'm just gonna be honest, mainstream media does not like straight black men.
So you think they wanted a gay black man? That's what they preferred, or trans black man?
Think about it. They put that. Think about that guy they just put on MSNBC to take Joy Reid's spot.
That Jordan Peele lookalike. That guy is funny, man. He looks just like a ridiculous Jordan Peele character. It's so funny.
He looks, honestly,
looks just like it, man.
The dude looks like.
I just laugh looking at him.
The dude looks like Lionel Richie with the Jerry curl and everything. His first name is Eugene. I know I think he worked for Human Rights Campaign or some shit. I don't know.
course.
But that guy looks so ridiculous. But it's like, but that's when I learned, like, those are the types of black men who they want in mainstream media. They don't want a heterosexual black man. You want to know the proof of it? Ta-Nehisi Coates.
I fucking can't stand Ta-Nehisi Coates.
I can't stand him. He's one of the most vacuous motherfuckers. I used to think he was a good writer. He was at one point.
He probably is a good writer, but shit he says is dumb as hell.
He's fucking vacuous. Ta-Nehisi Coates is vacuous because he's one note. There's only one fucking thing he ever talks about, and that's racism. That's it.
Yeah. God,
that's
it's
all he ever
exhausting.
talks about is racism. That he does nothing else.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I firmly believe the reason why he was drummed out of the Atlantic, right? He was drummed out of the Atlantic. Like, he had been writing for the Atlantic for years. Okay.
Really?
Like, they propped him up to be,
Yeah, he was the man for a little bit.
Coates was supposed to be the race man. Okay. He was supposed, like, he was that dude. Okay. They wanted him to be like, and he was like your white leftist favorite black writer.
Mm-hmm.
And
your black leftists too. I thought a lot of black leftists seemed to like him. At least I heard him like mention him and
heard of him. The ones that fucking heard of him.
Yeah. They mentioned him in
like
like Luke Cage, I think, and stuff, and like shit like that.
Right. But you had to be a real niche. Like, I'm talking about like patchouli. Like, you had to have like a 3 nose ring minimum to have heard of some to be a fan of some motherfucking Ta-Nehisi Coates.
That's good.
Because I can't tell you how many black folk out here, like, I'm talking normie blacks.
Oh yeah, they don't fucking know about him. Like, why would
they know shit about this dude?
But woke college kids.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, right, is from Baltimore, like me. Grew up in the neighborhood, like on the other side of Mondawmin Mall. His father's was a Black Panther.
Oh, well,
So he was so he was raised Paul Coates. Yeah,
the Marxist.
Yeah, so he's raised in that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This guy, you ask anybody in Baltimore if they ever heard of him, they'd be like, I don't know who that is.
That's funny. Not even his own hometown. Wow.
Not even his own hometown. I'll never forget. There was like a biography. There was like a bio piece in the Washington Post, and people were like, and like the writer of the piece was like, how come so many white Democrats love you? Like, they flat out asked him, like, your fan base.
He probably got pissed.
Coates' fan base.
He probably got pissed.
Mostly white.
He probably got pissed when he heard that.
Oh, he absolutely was.
He probably wants to think of himself as like some kind of big black hero, and it's only white people reading this shit.
Right. But you giving your kid a fucking complex. Like, bro, I will never forget when I read Between the World and Me.
That's funny, man.
When I read that book in a single sitting. I went to Barnes and Noble in the Bronx. I'll never forget the Barnes and Noble that was in the Bronx years ago when that book first came out. I read it. I actually read the book in a sitting. I just sat in the cafe, had a coffee, and read it. I was like, get out of here, shit. You were giving your kid a complex. But the reason why I bring him up is because I am sure he was drummed out of the Atlantic and has been basically in the wilderness because he's a heterosexual black man married to a black woman with a black son, with a teenage black son. Even Coates was too heteronormative for these white people out here.
Man, whiteness culture is a nuclear family, man. Like he
Jack leftist.
He's too white. He's too whiteness culture.
Yeah,
because it's a nuclear family. They said is whiteness culture.
Yo, look who.
So wait, what happened with him though? With Atlantic, did they just fire him?
He stopped working for the Atlantic, and Coates went. What did he do?
He makes his books now. Doesn't he do? He did like a comic book thing.
He wrote he wrote like a series of Black Panther or whatever. It was
Maybe
but
that's what he left
it
for.
wasn't well received.
No, of course not.
It wasn't well
Bullshit.
received.
Nobody wants to. Dude, he made a story about I think it was Captain America or something, where he made a story of Jordan Peterson as like the Red Skull. I think that was him, like as a Red Skull character. You know, he was like the Jordan Peterson was like, I don't know, like the guy building up the next Hydra or something like that. I hate that shit because I know Jordan Peterson's stuff. And Jordan Peterson's like a very positive influence, and he hates Nazis. By the way, he hates them.
Oh, again, if you're
and
not
communist, he hates both of them. He hates the fringes. He's not about that life at all. So total misrepresentation. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it
good
is.
job, Ta-Nehisi Coates, you lying son of a fucking bitch. Fuck you.
Anyways, that's our show tonight. There's someone in here. There's someone in the chat who's looking for some narcissistic supply. Some ugly frog lady who's looking for some narcissistic supply. I'm not interested in giving any tonight because
oh my god,
I got shit to do. You see her?
I mean, thanks for thinking of us, sweetie pie.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna give you a little bit of narcissistic supply. We see you, okay. We see you. You're seen. You're acknowledged. Now go rib it away. Go ribbit. Okay. But anyways, that's our show. Again,
ruined my day.
Thank you all for joining us here on Apostate Radio. This is show number 30. Quick little, now I can do the housekeeping now at the end of the show. So you can follow us as always at Isaiah L. Carter or at Nostra Chavez. Okay, you can follow us individually. We post pretty much every day. Apostate Radio NY for show for show updates and general information about that. Also, you can support the show, and let me do this because there's something new with StreamYard.
Oh.
If you want to support the show,
we got a little code. We got a little code now.
QR codes.
Ooh, look at that! Put your phone up to it there, Carlin.
So you can scan the QR code to go to buy me a coffee buymeacoffee.com/apostate radio. Nos has been needing brand new underwear for a long time. So
I got assless drawers on right now. So just so it's just somebody give me $1 or something. My goodness,
hot straps. This is all he got. Anyways,
I got crabs falling to their death, man. Let me tell you.
Oh shit. Oh god, that's hilarious.
Just thought of that one.
But anyways.
Give us some money, man.
Please do.
We're broke.
Please do. We are.
Kids to feed. So we close out after we do the business. We close out on that Babylon B sketch I put in a private chat.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll put it in because it's a YouTube link, right?
Yeah, I just sent it there. Yeah, if you can, or can you not play it?
I probably can. Hold on.
If it's gonna, I don't know, it's not gonna affect anything with advertising or anything, right?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will, but I'll share it. I'll play it. It shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, this is a
funny ass sketch. Right?
Babylon B sketch. I'm gonna pull it up here. Satan asked Democrats to tone down all the evil. Holy shit!
You'll love this. You'll love this.
All right, here we go.
It's very well done.
For meeting with me, you're all doing some wonderful work, destroying the world. But I think it's probably time for us to reevaluate.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but I think we're in the wrong meeting. We're not here to destroy the world. We're here to save it. You see, we are some of the leading leaders of liberal causes, and I'm with the Human Rights Campaign, who focus on LGBTQ+ and trans rights. You see, I have an equal sign to let you know that I'm a good person.
Very nice. Shout out to the B, man, and Joel Berry. This is hilarious.
Hold on. I'm gonna let this play through a little bit, but this is how you know these guys get it.
Oh yeah,
because the one black dude had all the Human Rights Campaign stuff. He the mascot for LGBTQ.
Oh yeah, wait till they get the other ones too. They're all like that. I mean, they're all like a specific a stereotypical type of category of progressive here. And I love like the devil. Watch Satan's like mannerisms and his face. He's like, oh, okay. Like,
here we go. Hold on.
Excuse me, women's reproductive rights.
Climate.
Free Palestine. Open borders. I misspoke before. You guys are not destroying the world, okay? You are saving the world. I said saving the world. The important thing to keep in mind is that there's a big election coming up, and you and I, we're all on the same page, okay? So if we want Biden to win, he needs to win in order for us to save the world. If we want Biden to win, you folks, how can I say this? You might need to tone it down just.
What?
Oh, that's a good question. You're women's reproductive rights, right? Okay. Excellent branding, by the way. It's much easier on the ears than baby murder. So kudos to you on that one. But opposing any restrictions all the way through to the 9th month. I mean, you see how you're kind of tipping your hand, right? Makes people think, wait, maybe they actually want to kill babies. And we do, obviously.
No, we don't.
Oh.
No, we don't.
We don't. Right. We don't. But you see how you.
Oh my God. Oh my God. They don't even realize. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good.
See how it can kind of look that way. So that's all I'm saying. Let's tone it down. And immigration. Clearly, we don't want a completely open border that undermines any sense of national sovereignty, driving down wages for the working class and overtaxing the welfare state. So let's go a bit easy there too. I mean, why not something like this? Why not something like diversity is our...
Are you trying to say diversity is our strength?
Yes. How do you say that without laughing? Oh my gosh. I can't even get through it. This is head and moi. My sides. My goodness. Okay, what about you? Pro-Palestine. You are, I'm going to say this. You're kind of coming across like you just want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
We do want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yes. And that's awesome. I'm all for that. I love that.
It's all for that.
You need to pretend like you don't want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Why?
Excuse me.
I mean, we're pretty clear in our position, and most young people and everyone on college campuses, and half the Democratic Party, of course, still support us.
Yeah, it's cool now.
You may have a point there. You might be the only person in here that can be as evil as you want to be and get away with it. But still, let's think about tactics. Okay, do you think that occupying bridges and blocking traffic is somehow winning people over to your cause?
Yeah, and making people hate us by blocking traffic is our thing. He's stealing our thing.
You're not stealing your thing. You must die. We will kill you all.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I love the homicidal thing that you got going on there. I really dig it, okay? But maybe market it just a little bit differently. Like the serial killer that everyone thinks is such a sweet guy, He's got 27 bodies in the basement, but he's like, coaching Little League. That's what I want. Be that guy.
Death to America.
Oh,
the funny.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
It's
all right.
sadly not even an exaggeration. Sadly.
Jeez. When you're too evil for the Prince of Darkness.
Too evil for Lucifer.
You're too evil for Lucifer himself.
Yeah, it's a great skit. You have to watch the rest of it. It's great.
You have a problem, leftists. You can watch the rest of it at the Babylon Bee.
Satan asked Democrats to tone down all the evil. Look it up on the Bee, man. The Bee's got a lot of good stuff.
Bee's got a lot of good stuff. That's our show tonight. You know what? I haven't even gone through some of the other stuff, but there's no show next week. Okay. There is no show for Sunday, October 5th. We are taking that week off. You knows have a wedding.
Yeah.
That you're doing.
That's right.
And moving this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Big weekend.
Big weekend.
Good timing for both of us with that.
Yeah, man. And you know what's so crazy? I wasn't expecting to be in this position. I was not expecting to move. And I haven't really talked about it much. Like I haven't really talked about it publicly. but I've spoken with you about the situation, and it really, I'm at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I'm starting to get a little angry about it. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be in a much better situation. There's going to be peace. There's going to be things that we're working towards. I'm going to break down I'm going to break down the office, the set here, and get it ready to pack up for later this week. But I'm getting a little upset because it's one thing. I'm going to be very cautious with what I say. You think you know somebody until they decide to essentially be the main character when there was no place for it. Where you're cutting off familial ties and talking recklessly and saying things and essentially breaking, like when you cause the chip of control to fry out of people's brains. Like I said, I'm not gonna say much. I'm not gonna say much now, but I'm just gonna say this. You will have to stand before God for what you've done. You know who you are, and he is not pleased. And when we leave this place, I will be shaking the dust from my feet. That's all I'm saying. Folks, that's our show tonight. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. And we will talk to you on October 12th.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. And thanks to our guests, Joel Berry and Josie the Redheaded Libertarian. What a great show.
Love those guys. I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm really glad to have had them on the show. They are welcome anytime. Thanks again, y'all. Have a great night.